lines are considered among the best and biggest in college football, and amazingly enough, are only 1 pound apart in total weight from tackle to tackle. The Mountaineers average 6'2½", 271. The Panthers are 6'4" and 271, and both have made hamburger out of every defensive front they have faced, much to the delight of Pitt's emerging star, tailback Adam Walker.
They execute everything well. They're a bunch of big guys. They stick together. They know their plays. They know what they're doing. They're strong, fast. I love them. I bring them to war with me.
We're going to play Pitt, who throws it, who runs the option, who has a mammoth offensive line, who really comes at you. If our defense can hold up against that, then I'll feel real good.
Pitt has a great offensive line. They're strong. They commit themselves to the weight room like we do, and I think the thing about our offensive line is the experience. The 5-year guys. We have 3-year starters on every position in the line, and plus we have capable backups.
So you ask, will the irresistible forces on offense prevail? What about the two defenses? The immovable object thus far has been Pitt. They are ranked 5th overall in defense and lead the nation in turnover margin with a +9 in only 2 games.
The defense concerns you because they force turnovers. You know, looking at it in that vein, I like their team both ways, but their defense tries to intimidate you.
This rivalry, when you came here, did you realize it was this intense on the side of your fans? You went to Bowling Green, and did you know it was this fierce?
When I came here, I didn't even know where West Virginia was, let alone how tough the Pitt game was going to be.
This is a great rivalry. This is the 81st meeting between Pitt and West Virginia. Pitt leads in the series, 54-24, 2 ties. A lot of dead bodies. It's a big day for Major Harris, who grew up within about 10 first downs of Pitt Stadium.
I think I'll feel good. Like I said, growing up, you know, it was my dream to play in Pitt Stadium, and now I'm given that opportunity, and I think it's going to feel great. You know, I'm going to probably be nervous before the game, but once the game first starts, I think all the jitters are going to go away.
It may come down to who has the ball last and gets the last jump shot. You know,
well, that's
no, I don't know. I really don't know, because I think again, ball games kind of take on a different tone when they start. West Virginia's been the type of team that just has come out of the chute and scored all day.
Do you think I was an idiot in picking West Virginia to finish #1?
No, I don't think so. I don't think anybody should ever refer to the Beanstar as anything other than a knowledgeable football person. I think when you look at their schedule, and they've got a lot of talent, you know. I'm telling you what, they've got as much talent as anybody in the country right now, and their schedule is certainly in their favor.
The Beanstar, he's been watching some of your skits. I'd like to talk about something that I think is being talked about as far as the fans are concerned. This is a very important game, and it's not being televised except in the East. Now, a lot of people are saying, CBS, why are you carrying Auburn and Tennessee? ESPN, why are you carrying the 2 games you're carrying today rather than this one?
Tim, the games for the CFA, CBS, and ESPN for September have to be picked in the summer, and the game for the first week in December. It's one thing, however, to miss a big game in September. It's a tragic to miss it in November. You won't miss it. All the big games will be somewhere in November, either on ESPN or CBS or ABC.
All right, all right.
Have been crowded on this field, and today it provides the setting for a battle between 2 great American independents. 11th-ranked West Virginia taking on 15th-ranked Pittsburgh. Good afternoon. I'm Steve Martin. Along with me, former Princeton and Connecticut coach Bob Cassiola. A big game between 2 great American independents and a big rivalry. This is the renewal, the 81st such, of the backyard brawl, but it has a big game feel to it. And you look at these 2 teams so early in the season, the leaves haven't even fallen yet, and yet there are 6 Bowl Scouts on hand here today. So there's a lot at stake for both of these teams. And Bob, if you had to pick one who's got more on the line than the other, who would it be?
I would have to say it's West Virginia, because they're coming into this ball game. If they can beat Pitt, there's no question about their national rank. And when you look at the rest of their schedule, they're at home against a lot of their key opponents. Pittsburgh, on the other hand, if they were not to win today, has Notre Dame and other nationally ranked teams to look forward to, that if they win along the way, they can maintain that ranking. So if you were to ask me, I think it's a great and important game for both of them, but I think perhaps there's a little bit more at risk for West Virginia.
Let's take a look at what these 2 teams have done thus far this season coming into the game. One thing is common. They both put an awful lot of points on the board, as you see. West Virginia routing Bowling Green, Cal State Fullerton, and they beat Maryland last week. Of course, as far as Pittsburgh is concerned, the Panthers have one shy game there. They beat Northern Iowa and Ohio State last week. Bobby, you surprised at that margin?
Well, I think it was a great win for him, but Mike Gottfried felt very confident going into that game that he could play with Ohio State because he thought he had a better speed factor involved. But, of course, the rout of Ohio State, nobody expects that. It was a tremendous victory for the Pitt Panthers.
It gives them a big lift, and you wonder what kind of perspective they'll look at this football game with so much on the line, so much as far as the rivalry is concerned. We had an opportunity to talk with both coaches, Mike Gottfried of Pittsburgh and Don Nealon of West Virginia, about the impact of this big game on their preparations for this week.
Well, as young as we are, I think it doesn't have much effect. Last Friday, we came out before the Ohio State game, and we were very quiet. And on Saturday, before the game, our players were really quiet, and I was concerned that they were too tight. But they went out and played very, very well. And I think that we talk a lot about big game atmosphere. Let's get in big games. That's why you came to Pitt. Let's get in them. And so I think they're enjoying it. I really do. I don't think it's had an effect on them, and I don't think this one will have an effect on them and tighten them up at all.
Well, you know, I kind of think that we have a pretty mature football team in West Virginia, and I think they really want to play. I detect a mood, hey, let's go up there and play. We have a great deal of respect for Pitt. We think they're a great football team. They may be as good as anybody in America. I don't know. They have that great blend of veterans and youth, and all of them are very talented. So our team knows they better play or they're probably going to get killed.
Well, you know, they're very close, as Don Nealon said, just 75 miles down the road, and there are 37 players on the West Virginia roster from the state of Pennsylvania. So you know it means a lot to those two teams.
Sure
We've got a great rivalry getting set to set it up, and we'll also talk about the two offenses, so stay right with us after this word from your local station. Welcome back to Pitt Stadium in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Steve Martin here along with Bab Cassiola. This is the 81st meeting, the backyard brawl between the Pitt Panthers and West Virginia. You see Pittsburgh has the edge in this series. It began in 1898. They've been playing continuously since 1943. The last West Virginia win here in Pitt Stadium, 28-10. That was in 1984. You know West Virginia's going to be hungry for this game today.
You sure are, and they've got a lot of players, including their quarterback, Major Harris, a hometown product, who's coming home today. That's what really makes the rivalry so great.
You better believe it. We take a look at the offenses of these two teams. You mentioned Major Harris. He is such a major part of what they do, no pun intended. Look what he did last week, 6 out of 11, 150 yards and a touchdown. That doesn't tell you what he did on the ground.
Here he runs the bootleg on the goal line from a wishbone, and nobody is near him as he takes it in, and that was a key score just before halftime. And here we see him doing a little play action again and hitting his tight end Wynn in the end zone.
And of course he can throw, and the Pittsburgh game last year was a turning point for him. He also has some other weapons to go to. He's got some great running backs. Two of them you see here in Craig Taylor and A.B. Brown.
A.B. Brown, and he has depth at the running back positions. They'll substitute 2 and 3 people there. All of them can run and catch the ball coming out of the backfield.
And you know, you talk about A.B. Brown. Here's a guy who is a transfer from Pittsburgh, so he has something at stake today. There you see the offensive comparison. West Virginia is #1 in scoring offense, #4 in total offense, and Pitt can bring a lot to the table as well.
They sure have very impressive numbers, but most impressive is the fact that they gain close to 7 yards per play as they move the football. Very impressive offensive football teams.
You know, one of the things, the comparison is West Virginia has a veteran offensive unit. We talk about their fifth-year seniors in the offensive line. Pittsburgh doing it pretty much with a very young team, especially at that quarterback spot.
A combination of youth and experience in different positions, but great talent on both sides of the football.
There's Darnell Dickerson. He's the reason why this will be his 7th start, technically, for the Pitt Panthers.
18 years old, that's all he is. He's a freshman, and he's an outstanding football player. And he loves to take the ball on the corner and just turn it up. It's a designed run all the way, and he's got the ability to put it in the end zone.
Craig Hayward is gone a year early to the pros, but Adam Walker gives them a much different dimension to their offense.
Very quick and elusive, great cutback action. 3 touchdowns against Ohio State. We see him here going in for 1 score. 5 touchdowns already this year.
And he has 327 yards total offense. There's West Virginia coming out on the field. They're 3-0 on the season. Their 9th season under Don Nealon, who's 3-5 against Pittsburgh. As you see the crowd of 56,500 getting set to watch this big battle between 2 great American independents. And there's Don Nealon as he crosses the far sideline.
Boy, is he up for it.
We're going to be set for for the action. Here is Pitt right here. They are 2-0 in their third season under Mike Gottfried. Gottfried is a 9-5, and there you see him from Kansas. The kickoff and more when we continue. Stay with us for Pittsburgh and West Virginia. Pitt Stadium in Pittsburgh, where these two great American independents and backyard rivals are set to meet for the 81st time. Only 75 miles of Interstate 79 separate Morgantown and Pittsburgh, and you're getting set to see all the action live from Pittsburgh.
Jefferson Pilot Teleproductions presents exclusive live coverage of great American independent football with Army, Boston College, Navy, Notre Dame, Pittsburgh, Rutgers, Syracuse, Temple, and West Virginia. Today's game is brought to you by Buick and your Buick dealers. The great American road belongs to Buick. And by Coors Light. There's no slowing down with the silver bullet. It's the right beer now.
We're in Pittsburgh. Steve Martin here along with Bob Casciola, just about set for Pittsburgh and West Virginia. We've talked an awful lot about the offenses and the roles that they'll play today, but defense will play a key role today, and we've got a key defensive situation facing Pittsburgh this afternoon. Our sideline reporter Stan Savran gives us the update.
Steve, thank you very much. One of the major questions about this game was the physical condition of Pitt's senior defensive end Bert Grossman. He injured an ankle last week against Ohio State. He did not practice all week. Would he play today or not? Well, our answer came about an hour ago when Pitt came out for their pregame warm-up. Bert Grossman was not dressed and will not play today. He did work out slightly last night and could play today if possible, but the coaches felt if they put him in, he might re-injure the ankle and be out for 5 or 6 weeks. So Pitt's best defensive lineman, Bert Grossman, will not play today. It's a key factor because with the rollout and scramble ability of Major Harris of West Virginia, Pitt's outside people are going to have to play containment. That would have been a responsibility that fell to Bert Grossman. As it is, Pitt starts 2 freshman outside linebackers without their senior defensive end. West Virginia certainly looking to get outside with Bert Grossman out of the lineup. Back to you, Steve.
Thank you very much, Stan. We'll be hearing from Stan throughout the afternoon. That's a key development as you look at the game conditions. A temperature 62. It's very comfortable. The wind out of the northeast. Forecast partly cloudy, but a key development for Pittsburgh.
Well, it's going to be a real test as we look at Don Nalen right away for the Pitt defense, because Grossman was rated by the NFL Pro Scouts as the highest rated defensive end in the country. So there's a big guy out of that lineup against an explosive West Virginia offense.
And, of course, one of the key factors today in a very close defensive battle, as we expect, is the kicking game. And Pittsburgh's made some changes there. They're going to go with a freshman kicker right now, Scott Kaplan, from Coral Spring, Florida. He's going to do the kickoff chores. Jeff Van Horn will do the placement chores, but because the punting game has not gone well, Jeff Van Horn will also be the punter. There you see Scott Kaplan. Deep for receiving for West Virginia. Eugene Napoleon is about 3 yards deep in the end zone. Andre Johnson, one of the upbacks, underneath him. And we're just about set to get underway with this battle between two great American independents. Pittsburgh in the blue to the left of your screen. And, of course, the West Virginia Mountaineers coming in here 11th ranked in the country. You add that national ranking to a great rivalry, and you've got yourself a ball game. We are underway. The kick is short. Coming up to take it, Napoleon at the 15. Napoleon dances to the outside. He's on the loose at the 45 and knocked out of bounds at the 46-yard line. Doug Hetzler and Cornell Holloway knock him out of bounds. A great return of 28 yards by Napoleon. Major Harris trots onto the field, and let's look at the return again.
There's Napoleon, number 33, the junior from Jersey City, New Jersey, breaking it to the outside. A very short kick, and West Virginia starts off in great field position.
Lone setback is Craig Taylor. Now they move A.B. Brown and back of him out of the eye on 1st and 10 at the 42. Here is the fake reverse. It's Harris out there on the corner. Harris, Campton pulls him down after only a 2-yard gain. So the reverse doesn't work, but let's take a look at that offense. Major Harris, A.B. Brown, he's a transfer from Pittsburgh.
Craig Taylor, the fullback. Reggie Rembert has been a big addition, a junior college player at the wideout position. He faked the reverse to him that time. A very experienced offensive line with size and experience.
Fullback on the carry first time or second time through. That's going to be Craig Taylor. He fights some hard yards up over the 45 to about the 47-yard line. Mark Spindler in on the top, as well as Carnell Smith. Let's look at the defense.
And they're going to be tested there, but they've got some players there. Mark Spindler, only 18 years old, started as a freshman defensive tackle. Of course, a very interesting linebacker corps led by Jerry Olsowski.
That's Wynn moving in motion. Here comes Harris on the option, caught in the backfield, pitches to the corner, but Cornell Holloway is there to diagnose it perfectly. And they nail A.B. Brown for a 3-yard loss back to the 43.
They were waiting for the option on 3rd down and long yardage. Excellent pursuit. Everybody was covered. Mike Godfrey said, we can't stop Major Harris. We've got to stop all the parts. Somebody's responsible for Harris. Somebody has to be responsible for the fullback, and somebody responsible for the pitch. There's Harris taken. Watch the cornerback coming up on the outside. Holloway to make the play on the pitch man. Excellent defensive series for Pittsburgh.
And the punt by Lance Carrion will go into the end zone. Carrion is one of the nation's leaders in punting for West Virginia out of New Kensington, Pennsylvania. It's 57 yards. It goes into the end zone for a touchback, and Pitt will come out offensively and take the football at the 20-yard line. So a very good defensive series for the Pitt Panthers. And here's Pitt's offense.
Darnell Dickerson, just a sophomore, elusive runner, excellent passer when he has to. And Adam Walker, the new tailback, 5 touchdowns already this year. Crossman, the fullback, Osborne, Tootin, Kirk, those are the receivers. Osborne, a fine all-around athlete.
And, of course, the offensive line, Tom Ricketts and Mark Stepnowski, they feel that those guys have definite pro potential.
And he feels Stepnowski's the best offensive lineman in the country.
Calaguire moving to the center position from guard. Walker and Crossman are in the eye behind Dickerson on 1st and 10. Here comes the handoff to Walker, and he's caught behind the line of scrimmage. A great play by West Virginia, nailed for a 2-yard loss. Coming in on the tackle is going to be Chris Parker. Let's take a look at that West Virginia defensive front three good ones.
Parker, Gray at the nose position, and Mike Fox at the other defensive tackle position. Turnbull had a great day against Maryland from the outside linebacker position. And, of course, Pickett, another fine linebacker. Our secondary, very experienced. Mays with an interception against Maryland last week.
Orlando with an interception and a touchdown as well. Crossman and Redmond the setbacks now for Dickerson on 2nd down. This is Darnell Dickerson to throw, and pressure nearly intercepted by Chris Herring. He picked off a pass earlier this season, and that is incomplete.
Little play action pass that time, trying to hit the back out of the backfield. As you watch number 15, Darnell Dickerson, the sophomore quarterback, little fake here. He's going to come to the left side of the screen, but number 49, Chris Herring, gets underneath the play and almost makes the interception there. Big play by the defense. 3rd and long for Darnell Dickerson and the Pitt Panthers.
No score, 12:31 left to go, first period. Out of the split back, and here is Dickerson. Dickerson with a quarterback draw, and that is not going far. Again, Chris Parker, who applied pressure on that last pass, making the tackle.
Very interesting. First 2 series, 2 great offensive football teams, and in the first 2 series, both defensive teams have dominated play.
And, of course, last year we saw a game with only 3 field goals, in essence. Jeff Van Horn, as you see here, into punt for the first time this season, kicked 2 of them. This is a key part of the game. West Virginia will move 10 men in. Van Horn with a kick. Back to get it is Grantis Bell on the fly at the 38, and he steps out of bounds at the 39-yard line. Grantis Bell on a 43-yard kick, and that's the longest punt thus far this season for the Pitt offense, and Jeff Van Horn does the honors. No score with 11:55 left to go in the first period. We'll be back after this. Welcome back to Pitt Stadium. Steve Martin here along with Bob Cassiolo. No score between West Virginia and Pittsburgh. Down on the sideline with a report, here's Stan Savran.
Despite the 43-yard punt by Van Horn, Pitt has had all kinds of problems with their punting game, averaging only 27 yards per punt. They put an ad in the student newspaper, and one of the kids who answered it was James Findlay, number 6. He is a walk-on from England. He's a shot putter, knows nothing about the game of football. Probably will not punt this week.
Here's the first play from scrimmage for West Virginia in their second possession. Carrying the football is going to be A.B. Brown, and there's not much yardage. Mark Spindler is the man who made a tackle, and he's a good one.
Mark Spindler was one of the few freshmen to start here at Pittsburgh. He started last year. He falls in line with a lot of great names: Dorsett, Hugh Green, Bill Fralick. Spindler is a 6'5", 270 player from Scranton, Pennsylvania, and he is a good one.
Second down coming in about 7. Make it about 8. West Virginia, and a fumble on the snap. Harris covers up. There's a flag on the play, and Smiter maybe jumped ahead of the count.
Right side of the line, Brian Smiter, the big tackle, very fine pass pro, just moved before the snap.
There's a call by our official.
Watch the top of the screen as you see number 79 set up just before the snap. A little tenseness in there now. This offense, a powerful offense for West Virginia. Push themselves back, and Major Harris, the ball sitting on the 35-yard line, and he's looking at a second down and 13.
Taylor and Brown, the setbacks. Set up out of the eye originally on second down and a passing situation possibly. Here's Harris, and he's snared in the backfield. Fumbles the football, but West Virginia will recover, and a great play by Nelson Walker.
Nelson Walker playing, the sophomore, starting for Bert Grossman at defensive end position. There he is, number 94. He just knifes in right away as they start a little counter option here. There's Spindler going one-on-one with...
That's Milton Redwine.
Milton Redwine, the offensive lineman. But anyway, beautiful play by Walker, throws Major Harris for a loss, and now it's 3rd and 19.
No score, in motion, Taylor. No setback. Here comes Harris to run. Not much room. Squirts out of 2 tackles and is brought down at the 32. Finally brought down on the play by now Nelson Walker.
Nelson Walker, he's up for this one, boy. What an opportunity. Anyway, that time they came out, no backs in the backfield. Obvious passing down, obvious passing formation. They decided to run a quarterback draw, and there was Pitt ready to take them on. Again, they're forcing a punt.
Number 1 in Division 1A net punting. Here is Carrion with a low kick that might have been tipped, and it's not going to be a very good one. It now takes a West Virginia bounce inside the 30 to the 28, kicking away from Alonzo Hampton in that situation, and that's where Pittsburgh will set up after a 40-yard kick. Lance Carrion trots off the field. There's no score. 9:54 left to go in the first period of play. We'll be back after this from your local stations. Miles away from each other in the backyard brawl. This is their 81st meeting, and Pitt comes out here with no score on their second possession, and they'll start from the 28. Darnell Dickerson, there you see him at quarterback, out of the I formation. Moving across the formation is Osborne. Here is Walker, and Walker runs head on right into the heart of that West Virginia defense, and he gets very little yardage. Picking them up, Mike Fox and Robert Pickett.
That's a tough defense that West Virginia has. They're very, very aggressive, and they can fill the hole well. Watch Ellis, the linebacker, from the inside position as he comes in here. And also number 45, Pickett, come up into the hole. There's Ellis, 66, making the hit. Just fills in perfectly after the blocks on a down lineman. Very active group on defense. West Virginia is just experience everywhere you look on this football team.
Second down and about 8. Here's Darnell Dickerson to throw. Straight drop back. Has some time, looking long. Has Crossman as fullback, incomplete. Matching up with Willie Edwards down the sideline, the Pittsburgh sideline. Dickerson airs it out for his fullback.
He really was looking upfield. He wanted to hit his end. Tootin, who was coming from the inside position, he was well covered as Bo Orlando, the strong safety, picked up on him, and he just went to the outlet pass. He went to his outlet pass that time when he looked for his halfback. As we look at 43-year-old Mike Gottfried, head coach of Pittsburgh. Very impressive stats already in his first, this is 3rd year as head coach at Pitt.
No score. 3rd down and 8 now for Pitt at their own 29-yard line. Osborne in motion. Here's Dickerson. Will he keep? Yes, he has to. He has to keep that time because a beautiful play by Turnbull who made the tackle.
Turnbull had a great day last week against Maryland. Watch 87 on the top of the screen. Play off the block of the tight end, pushes him in the backfield, and makes the hit. You can't do it any better. But, of course, he grabbed a little face mask along the way. It was a great defensive effort by the 6'5", 234-pound Turnbull.
Now, is it going to be a 5-yard face mask, or is it going to be more? Let's wait for the determination. Our official here today, that's going to be the referee, is William McDonald.
Face mask. Defense, 15 yards.
15 yards. The umpire is Ronald Plagues, Earl Sell, the Helms linesman, Paul Tye is the line judge, the side judge Charles Phillips, the field judge Walter Lucas, Nick Traynor the back judge. And the penalty marched off against West Virginia, negating a great play.
And Nayland's upset about it because he felt it was an incidental face mask, and they gave him a 15-yard penalty. A great play turns into a big break for the Pitt Panthers.
They converted to a first down, and they're in excellent field position at their own 44. Dickerson to throw. Has some time across the middle to his tight end, Vernon Kirk. He dropped the football, but was he blown dead? Yes, he was at the 46-yard line. Chris Herring on the thought.
That's the first reception of the year for Kirk. Kirk, outstanding blocker. They do not use their tight ends in the pass game very often. They like them as blockers. Only one reception by the tight ends coming into this game, and that was by his backup, Tom Hubner. So Kirk makes the play a very short gain, and they're opening their offense a little bit with Darnell Dickerson, who has the ability to throw the football. He threw for 56 touchdown passes in high school in Detroit, Michigan.
I don't think either team has done anything beyond 2 yards on first down. Here's Adam Walker, the lone setback, and on the counter play, he gets the carry. And he follows the block of Roman Matthews. Off the left side, Ronaldo Turnbull picks up the tackle just shy of midfield.
One of the really impressive things about the West Virginia defense is their ability to come off the blocks and get to the football. They're all big and they're all very quick. And Turnbull, playing at his size on a tight end, really creates havoc.
He's from the Virgin Islands. An assistant basketball coach at West Virginia found him while he was recruiting down there. He was playing football down there, not basketball. But to the top side, you see Tootin and Osborne going split on 3rd down and 5. Dickerson, play action. Big rush on. Parker chasing. Here's the throw. He wisely gets rid of it out of bounds. Big heat put on by West Virginia.
West Virginia went man for man on the 2 wide receivers. They took their free safety, Whitmore, and their cornerback, Edwards, and they went one-on-one on the wide receivers, which permitted the defensive line to put quick pressure right here on the quarterback, force him out of the pocket, and he throws the ball away, and Pitt is forced to punt.
Van Horn back for his second kick of the day. His first one was 43. This one was tipped. It was blocked. And it's going to take a West Virginia bounce. It's tapped down at the 31-yard line, but that one definitely was influenced.
Van Horn took a lot of time to read the label on that football, and that's why somebody got into him.
A 19-yard punt, and that changes field position drastically for the West Virginia Mountaineers, who get the ball on their 3rd possession. Score is tied. Here's the punt again. And the block is made by Mike Fox, getting the block on Jeff Van Horn. That's the reason why Pitt only got 19 yards out of that kick.
He took his time on that play, and Mike Fox, the big defensive tackle, got his hands on it. Pitt's got good field position.
West Virginia with the football at their own 31. Here is Harris to throw. Has some time, steps up and fires long for Phillips. Incomplete, nearly intercepted, and a flag on the play. A flag on the play. Let's see if we can pick it up. Cornell Holloway may be guilty of it.
Well, let's see how this play may go. Here we go. It's a drop back action by Major Harris. He's looking upfield for Calvin Phillips, number 82. He's got plenty of time as we watch it from the end zone. And he delivers the football. In doing so, we're going to get offensive interference, it looks like, right here. Let's watch it as Holloway goes up for the ball, and 82 Phillips obstructs his opportunity to catch the ball. The official called it, and West Virginia is taken right back inside their 20-yard line.
Second major penalty for the Mountaineers this afternoon. Still no score. It's going to be 2nd and a bundle, about 25. 3 penalties now for West Virginia, 35 yards. That's more than either team has gained in offense here this afternoon. Here's Harris, optioning to the top side, calls his own number at the 30, at the 40, at midfield, and he gets the first down into Pittsburgh territory. Best play from scrimmage thus far this afternoon. That's Major Harris in front of his home crowd. He's from Brashear High School here in Pittsburgh. A 38-yard gain.
What happens here is as he comes down the line, fakes to his fullback. As he comes down the line, the man responsible for him, number 55, Osowski, gets cut off. and right away there's a hole. Harris with his speed and size just turns it on, gets upfield, and that's what can happen to you with Major Harris. He can break it up, he gets out of bounds, and big gain and takes him right off the hook. They got great field position.
Here's the pitch. A.B. Brown coming upfield, gets his way to about the 41-yard line. Bunch of people from Pitt on the tackle, but let's take a look at what Pitt wants to do defensively. For that report, down to the sidelines and Stan Sabra.
Take it in, number 9.
Having trouble with that report on the sideline. We'll go back to Stan a little bit later on in the ball game. Now it brings up 2nd down and 6 after the gain of 4. West Virginia with the ball.
Here, I start.
There's Taylor. And now here is Harris pitching to Brown on the corner at the 35. And ridden out of bounds by Cornell Holloway. Right down there at around the 31-yard line.
That was a little counter option that time as Harris comes down the line of scrimmage, and he turns upfield and pitches the ball as he's going upfield to Holloway on the corner. And that's the way the offense should operate, especially the option offense. And Mike Gottfried knows they've got to take care of each individual on it, the fullback, the quarterback, and the tailback. And this is where West Virginia is very powerful in running the three-way option.
First down. Here is Harris going to his fullback this time, Craig Taylor. Not much there. Parnell Smith was the man who contained him on the play. Let's go back down to the sidelines and try it again to find out what's happening with Pitt defensively. Stan Sabra.
Steve, we had thought Pitt would try to box the defensive ends to play contain on Major Harris. Exactly the opposite. Pitt is trying to crash his defensive ends either inside straight upfield and let the linebackers cover outside. It cost them on that long 38-yard run, so they're not boxing. They're crashing the line of scrimmage, going right at Major Harris, letting the linebackers do the contain.
And that puts a lot of pressure on those freshman outside linebackers. Here's Harris to throw on 2nd down. All kinds of time. Now he'll put it up for the end zone. Going for Rembert. Touchdown! Touchdown for West Virginia. There's Reggie Rembert out of Independence Junior College.
Well, great job by the offensive line from Pittsburgh. They gave Major Harris forever. He looked, he started to run, and he decided to throw again. And Rembert, the big 6'6", 200-pounder, the junior college transfer, came open, and he's got the gun to find him.
Out of the hold of Chuck Levinus, Charlie Bauman's kick is up, and it is good. His 22nd straight point after touchdown. Let's see the play again from the end zone look.
You just can't afford to give a guy like Major Harris with his talent this much time. Excellent job up front. He waits. He looked for his tight end crossing first. Now he wanders around a little bit, and he finds Rembert coming open in the end zone against the sophomore Riddick, who could not stay with him. He fell down. 43. Troy Washington, the free safety, and Rembert, using his size, his speed, and his agility, makes it into a touchdown.
West Virginia 7-0. We'll be back after this word from your local station. That's how it happened. 6 plays. Reggie Rembert 33 yards upstairs from Major Harris's 3rd touchdown pass of the year, and West Virginia on the board 7-0.
But it's all Major Harris. The ability to get out of trouble, to turn a broken play, to run the option, and then to sit in the pocket, find an open receiver 30 to 40 yards downfield and put the ball on the money. He's the talent. He's outstanding coming into this game. He was heralded as one of the top maybe 3 quarterbacks in the country, and he's proven it in the first 3 games of the season.
And he's working behind a veteran offensive line, and those people have some pretty long memories of the years against Pittsburgh.
Well, we said coming into this game that West Virginia had a lot on the line. This is a veteran team. They really feel it may be one of the best they've ever had, and they've got a chance to really register on the national scene this year.
Got a change on the kickoff unit. Brad Carroll, the sophomore from Hatfield, Pennsylvania, is kicking off instead of Charlie Bauman. His kick taken at the 10-yard line and brought back by Mike Hadley inside the 20 at the 15. Just an 8-yard return, and Steve Grant makes the tackle. So the change for West Virginia, they were worried last year. We heard them talking after the game about not getting enough depth on those kickoffs. They didn't get an awful lot of depth there, but their kick coverage was good, only limiting the receiver to 5.
They were ready. They scored a big touchdown. That kickoff team was up, and they covered well. And now Darnell Dickerson starting out on his own 15-yard line.
Sets him up in the eye. That's Crossman, the fullback. Behind him, Walker. Pitch to Walker. Walker cuts back against where the block was set up and gets just to the line of scrimmage. Scott Summits is, of course, stopped right there. Walker, of course, had a great week last week. 327 yards thus far this season. 163 last week.
It's exciting. I had to compliment my offensive line for that. They're doing a tremendous job executing the plays and getting their assignments right.
Now I'd like them to work a little bit harder. 2nd down and 8 for only 2 yards on the play. Crossman and Walker line up again behind Darnell Dickerson. Delay action, and it goes to Walker, and Walker caught from behind, and he'll have to struggle to get back to the original line of scrimmage.
See, Walker's ability is he's exceptionally quick and elusive, and he's always looking to cut the ball back. But West Virginia's staying at home. The whole defensive right side of the line was there looking for him to make that cut. They've got to generate some offense with their tailback. They are a tailback-oriented team, and he's got to get it going. But it's tough to do it against a defense that really comes off its blocks so well and fills those holes and those gaps and don't give him a chance to cut it back.
Gain of about 2. Walker 5 carries on the day, 7 yards. 3rd down and 6. Pitt trailing West Virginia by 7. Dickerson in the pocket. Has a man open. Intercepted by Alvoid Mays. Was intended for Henry Tootin. Mays stepped right in front of it. 2nd straight week he's picked one off.
As we watch Dickerson drop back, he looks left, but he's going to come back to the left side, to his left side, to number 81 Tootin. But Mays, number 3, steps right in front of it, perfectly timed, makes a key interception. Last week he made a key interception against Maryland, and Alvoid Mays from Bradenton, Florida, puts West Virginia inside the 25-yard line.
Out of Platt Junior College. Here's Harris, delay, cutback, goes to Brown. Brown up over the 25-yard line to about the 23. Big pot up there. Sims is in there to make the stop along with Richard Allen and Jerry Olszewski, the middle linebacker for Pittsburgh.
You know, coming into this ball game, they love to sprint the quarterback Dickerson on the corner and throw with him in action. They've thrown from the pocket a lot today, and West Virginia's done a nice job of containing Dickerson and forcing him to stay in there. Let's see if they continue to do that down the road.
Big blitz on for Pitt. Get away with it with a running play to Brown. He can't turn the corner. Gets up to about the 21-yard line. It'll be a gain of 2 on the play, bringing up 3rd down and 8. Curtis Bray, the freshman from Monroeville, Pennsylvania, in on the stop.
Curtis Bray, number 58, as we look at Darnell Dickerson on the sideline with his coaches. Curtis Bray is only a freshman. He was the top scholastic player in the country last year. He plays outside linebacker, did a nice job on the option to hold it to a short gain.
Jamie Lamont is now in the ball game along with Reggie Rembert. They go out in pairs to the top as you see Curtis Bray getting into his position. And here is Major Harris rolling right. Big pressure on by Cornell Smith. Harris backs up. He scrambles and he's going to be caught. Now he throws it in the last second. It is incomplete, intended for Rembert.
There's a flag downfield. We may have an offensive lineman downfield. There's a flag in the vicinity of about the 18-yard line. Anyway, there's the athletic ability of Major Harris. As we listen to the official here, William McDonald. That's it.
Ineligible receiver.
As we watch here, he's sprinting on the corner, but it's going to be a pass. He's looking upfield. He's looking for his wide receiver, Phillips. But there's a lot of blue shirts in his face now. He decides to turn and reverse, but they've got him contained, and he just whistles this. In the meantime, an ineligible receiver, probably an offensive lineman, thinking he was going to tuck it and turn and run, got downfield.
Well, you figure after 10 seconds, he's got to do something. There's William McDonald making the call, ineligible receiver, and it's a loss of down. 3:01 left to go in the first period of play, so this puts West Virginia back to 3rd and 13 about at the 21-yard line.
There's Don Nailing, the winningest coach in West Virginia football history.
Third down, Here is a big rush by Pittsburgh, but Harris gets out of it. Harris to the corner. Harris upfield. Does he have enough for the first? Steps out of bounds at the 14-yard line. It's going to be very close.
It's going to be very close. It might be a little bit short, but it shows you his ability and his strength here. This is a designed quarterback draw. As he steps up, he's in the grasp of Osowski, but Osowski breaks that tackle, tucks the ball, gets on the left side, and look at him motor. 6'1", 215 pounds, got it in close enough, didn't get the first down. It's going to give him a shot at a field goal.
So it'll be 4th and inches, and here is Charlie Bauman. He's 5 for 6. He's had one block, his longest distance from 47 yards. This one will be from 31. There's the kick. It's up from the left hash, and it is good. And West Virginia capitalizes on Al Boyd May's interception. They knock it in for a field goal to step out in front of 15th-ranked Pittsburgh by a score of 10-0 on Charlie Bauman's field goal. Don Nealon quite happy with the turn of affairs there. Knows his team's got a lot of work cut out for him. Knows as well that it's not easy to get out to a big lead and hold it, as what happened to him last week.
Well, he's happy to come away with 3 points, and I'm sure Pittsburgh is happy to only give up 3 points because they turned that ball over in terrific field position, and they could have easily been down by 2 touchdowns. They've just got to settle in and get a little bit of offense going for them, get some first downs. That's what they haven't done. It's been a frantic first half, quite frankly, with the defense dominating.
We talked with Don Nealon last week about what was going through his mind after his team fell down 14-0 to Maryland in last week's game.
Gosh, what do these Terrapins have on us? Every year we seem like we'd play pretty good and lose to them, but finally it came together. And the nice thing about our team last week, when we got down 14-0, there was no panic, nothing on the sidelines. The guy said, "Hey, coach, relax. This one's in the bag." And I'm saying, "Oh, brother, these guys are shook up." But anyhow, they went out and played good ball.
That's the experience of his football team. When you've got experienced players, they don't get excited. They've got confidence in themselves, and he's got a lot of experience throughout this club, offensively and defensively, and he's got a great talented quarterback in Major Harris.
And you wonder what's going through Mike Gottfried's mind now. He's in the same position Don Nealon was in last week, but he's got a much younger club to contend with. Brad Carroll with the kick. Michael Hadley with a reception at the 5. Up to the 20, the wedge at the middle of the field, and gets out to about the 28-yard line. Nice tackle made by Zippy Shearer, our backup defensive end, playing on the special teams. A 23-yard return gives Pitt the football right outside their own 25 to the 28-yard line. Darnell Dickerson trotting back into the huddle. He'll have Tootin and Osborne as his wide receivers this time around. Crossman at fullback. Crossman, of course, is a transfer from Kansas. He started as a cornerback at Kansas when Mike Gottfried was coaching right there.
And then followed Gottfried here to Pittsburgh as the transfer student. Now he lines up at fullback.
He's out of the eye. Osborne's in the slot to the near side. Dickerson rolling out. Rolling on the corner. Turnbull chasing him, and he's complete to Osborne at midfield. Darrell Whitmore on the tackle, Osborne on the catch.
They call Dickerson a gifted athlete. This is a bootleg, a naked bootleg, where he just pulls, comes out on his own, no blocker in front of him. He's looking for Osborne, who's running a deep sideline cut, and that's a beautifully thrown pass on the run, which Darnell Dickerson can do, and only a sophomore.
Osborne's done it all in his career at Pitt. He threw a touchdown pass against West Virginia at Morgantown a couple of years ago to Vernon Kirk. He's a 3-sport letterman. First down for Pitt. Dickerson goes to the first man through. That's Crossman right up ahead. And he is going to be stopped by Scott Summits just as he crossed the 47-yard line of West Virginia.
Very important here now, as we noted, for Pitt to get some offense, get some first downs, get some field position. Keep the ball away from the West Virginia offense is what one of the things that Mike Gottfried said when asked, what do you have to do to win tomorrow? We got to keep the ball away from their offense. We got to make some first downs.
Tootin to the top of your screen. Stacking up in the eye, Walker, and it's going to be Crossman back there at fullback on second down. Here is Crossman again. And Crossman gets out close to the first down. Let's see where they mark his forward progress out over the 40-yard line. Let's go down to the sidelines now and Stan Sabrin with a report.
Thank you very much, Steve. I just came from behind the West Virginia bench, and one of the defensive assistants for West Virginia was telling his defensive players, watch number 72 of Pitt, Chris Getz, one of the offensive linemen. He's tipping off the play. The coach said, watch 72, he'll lead you to the ball. I don't know what he's doing to tip it off, but the West Virginia Mountaineer defensive staff has found some sort of weakness.
Crossman picks up the first down in the meantime at the West Virginia 39-yard line, their first excursion into Mountaineer territory, and here's Dickerson to throw. He's got this man Tootin inside the 30, down to the 25-yard line. Whitmore on the tackle.
Real nice call. 1st and 10, and they go right with the pass. Drop back action. They give Dickerson plenty of time here. Watch the pass pro. And he's got time to let Tootin come down and curl underneath the linebacker. Executed well. 1st down, and Pittsburgh's offense is coming together.
1st and 10 at the 24-yard line of West Virginia. That mascot's pretty happy about things so far. Like to see his team on. He would like to see his team on the scoreboard. Here comes an inside handoff to the fullback Crossman, and he picks his way down to the 20-yard line. Orlando comes up to help out on the tackle along with Chris Herring and Ronaldo Turnbull.
Rather than running sprint draw action, delay action, they're going right at him a little bit to try and pick up a seam and maybe get some yardage and keep this thing alive.
Good yardage on 1st down, makes it 2nd down and 6. As you see the West Virginia sideline looking on with Pitt threatening.
Coming into this ball game, you had two teams that were averaging a lot of points per game, so you know they're not going to be kept off that scoreboard for very long.
And a lot of yards per carry, as a matter of fact. It's 6 per play offensively. Osborne across the formation. Hand off to Walker. Walker with a little stutter step into the hole, over the 20, into the 15-yard line. Chris Herring in on the stop for West Virginia. We are approaching the end of the first period of play. It's been an exciting one, and it's been all West Virginia. The Mountaineers leading Pittsburgh by a score of 10-0. We'll return to Pitt Stadium after this from your local stations.
Thank you.
Pittsburgh by a score of 10-0 as we take the turn into the second quarter. Let's take a look at that last play. You talked about Chris Getz. He's on the right of your screen. Let's see if he tips this one off.
In blue, number 72 to the right of the offensive center. Watch this block as he picks up on 94, Chris Parker, and he permits his fullback, Crossan, to cut back and make a good yardage inside. I don't know what he tipped that time, but he made a great block to make this thing go, and it's 3rd down and short as Pitt is driving.
I know what he tipped. He tipped Parker. 3rd and short. 3 men deep in that backfield. That's Osborne who'll step out of the formation. And off Walker, and he slipped. Slipped and fell shy of the 1st down. Covering him up is Pickett and Orlando.
Big decision here for Mike Gottfried. It's going to be 4th and 1 with the ball sitting just outside the 15-yard line. He's looking to get the ball to 29 Walker. He's looking to cut back and get the 1st down. And his right, he just slips right there. He doesn't make it. And And Mike Gottfried has made the decision. He's going for the field goal.
Jeff Van Horn trots on for his 3rd try this season. There you see the first quarter stats. West Virginia leading in total yardage. A lot of that onto the ground, and 38 of it from Major Harris on his scramble. Van Horn on a 32-yard attempt from the right hash. There's the kick out of the hole to Osborne, and it is no good. No good. West Virginia takes over. Van Horn, stunned, goes to the sideline with his 2nd miss thus far this season. That capped an 8-play drive. Pitt held possession of the football, moved the ball well, except for a slip by Walker. They had it well blocked, had to bring the field goal kicker on. And Van Horn, who was plagued by inconsistency last year, was 10 out of 23, came up short.
There's no question that there's real problems in the kicking game for Pittsburgh. And this is the one shortcoming they have, and it can come to haunt them not only here but throughout the season.
1st and 10, West Virginia operating from their own 18. Hand off to the fullback, and that's going to be Taylor. Not much there. Gets up over the 20 to about the 22-yard line. Let's take a look at that field goal try again.
You get the feeling from Van Horn that he thinks it's good as you watch his reaction, but all field goal kickers think it's good. He pulled it to the left, and he missed it.
It's his holder, Bill Osborne, knew it wasn't. He did not share in the celebration, and so after the 2-yard gain and West Virginia getting the ball back here, it's 2nd down and actually 9. Taylor and Brown the setbacks. Here's Harris. Harris pitches at the last second, picking it off the rugged ground. And wait a second, they're going to say it's going to be a forward pass, incomplete. So it's an incompleted pass, and that kills the play as Harris.
That's a really good call by the officials to pick up on that right away. And watch it as you watch from the end zone. He comes down, he fakes to the fullback. He's going to turn it up here. He's in the grasp. By the time he gets it out to the pitch man, it's forward and it hits the ground, so it's an incompleted pass. And the officials were right on the play.
You can see A.B. Brown had to step right into that. Don Nealon a little bit upset. His team leading, though, on 3rd down and 9, and they lead by 10. West Virginia at their own 21. Harris. Drop back, goes to the corner, almost intercepted. He was looking out there for his running back, actually his fullback Taylor, and Curtis Gray was covering on the play.
Curtis Gray did an excellent job of getting in between the receiver and the quarterback. Actually, the man that was open was 81 Tootin in the middle zone here, and he decides to go long. He's got a first down if he hits Tootin right there, number 81. Good job by the defense. Pittsburgh is going to get the football back in pretty good field position.
Lance Carrion averaging 48 yards on 2 punts this afternoon. He boomed one for 47. He gets a good one this time, sending Alonzo Hampton deep. Gets it at the 24. Backpedals and waits for the wedge. Cuts up the middle, and he's hit by Steve Grant once again and shelved right there at the 32-yard line. So West Virginia will get the football, or rather Pittsburgh will get the football back after Carrion's 54-yard punt. West Virginia up by 10.
The defensive line, which thought they could neutralize West Virginia's offensive line, has been further injured. Bert Grossman will not play today, and Mark Spindler, the All-American defensive tackle, is out with a hip pointer. He has had an ice bag. There you see him, number 93. He's been running on the sideline, has not been able to go, so he may miss the rest of the game. Back to you, Steve.
Thanks, Stan. It's 1st and 10 for Pitt at their own 31-yard line. Crossman in motion. Back to throw, Dickerson. Darnell finds Tootin over the middle at the 47. At the 43, and knocked down there by Darrell Whitmore.
By going to the pass on the early down, first down, they take away any chance of real rush. They give Dickerson lots of time here and gives Tootin, number 81, who's going to run a dig or an in pattern behind the linebackers and in front of the deep backs. And he comes underneath, he's wide open, and he's got lots of speed. And he can catch the football. That's Henry Tootin from Camden, New Jersey, only a junior. He leads this club with 5 receptions coming into this ball game. He has yet to score, but he's made some good yardage on patterns just like that.
He's got 2 catches today. That's a 26-yard gain for Tootin. It's 1st and 10, Pittsburgh. And off Walker has an opening. Gets up over the 40 down to about the 38-yard line of West Virginia, maybe a little bit more.
That's what they got to do. They got to run behind the experience. The experience is Stepnowski, the right guard, Calaguire, the center, and the right tackle, Matuz. They've got some big size in that offensive line. They've got to go after West Virginia at the point of attack.
That's Bob Shaw, who is the defensive coordinator for West Virginia. His stops on the tour have been many: Akron, Michigan, Cincinnati, Arizona, Arkansas. Tour of duty in the USFL. He's calling the defensive signals. And 2nd and 5 for Pittsburgh at the West Virginia 37. Dickerson on the option. Finds Walker. Walker has the first down. Gets to the 30-yard line. Willie Edwards on the stop.
They don't run a lot of option, but they have it in their playbook. They like to run a little bit of it. And that time, Darnell Dickerson ran the counter option back into the sideline, got the ball to his tailback, Walker on the corner. Good yardage, first down. The Pitt offense, although they came up short on the field goal, is starting to move the football.
They're at the West Virginia 30-yard line. Mike Godfrey told us yesterday they may run maybe 7 or 8 pure option plays for Dickerson. When he carries the ball, usually it's a straight-out roll-out or sweep. Out of the eye, on first down. Crossman has it, steps behind Stepnowski and goes straight ahead. That's Getz throwing a block in there as well. And he gets inside the 30 to about the 28. Scott Summit's in on the tackle.
Across that offensive line for Pitt at left tackle, Tom Ricketts is a big one. He's 6'5", 285. Many feel he may be as good a tackle as there is in the country. He's a 3-year starter. Chris Getz, we've already mentioned at left guard. Calaguire, who moved from a guard position to a center position. Stepnowski and Matuz, all good size, all experienced.
2nd and 8 from the West Virginia 28. Pittsburgh with the ball. That's Williams across the formation, and here is Walker with the carry. Not much there, and Pickett is the first man through to deliver a hit along with Summits and Herring.
tough to run the counter or the slow hitting or the delay stuff. They just fly to the football. Robert Pickett, particularly an outside linebacker. There's a 2-year starter from Miami, Florida. Very active. He closes off well. You got to get right into these guys and right at them.
3rd down and about 10. Standing back at the 30-yard line. There you see the 3rd down conversions. West Virginia 0 for 4. Pittsburgh looking at their 6th right now. Crossman, Osborne in the backfield. Actually 4 wide receivers on the field. Dickerson with a rush on, going to the corner. It is complete. This is Williams. He's close to the 1st down, but does he have enough?
He's short of the 1st down, but a nice pass. Dickerson, drop back action. His line gave him good protection and gave Jackson a chance to get open. Inside, he cut back to the middle. He's going to come up short. Again, Mike Gottfried's got to make a choice.
And his field goal unit has already missed one, and now they're going to take a timeout.
They're going to think about it, you bet.
His field goal kicker, Jeff Van Horn, missed from 32 from about this same position in the field. So Pittsburgh will take time to talk it over. 9:55 left to go in the first half of play. It's West Virginia 10, Pitt nothing. We'll be back after this from your local stations. In Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the Pitt Panthers have a big decision to make. They're 4th down and very short, and they have apparently made it. Jeff Van Horn stays on the sideline. Darnell Dickerson goes into the game or stays into the game at quarterback. Pitt is going for it.
And that's it. I think it's a matter of confidence in his kicking game, and he's just decided after missing that first field goal, he's got to try it here. Emotionally, he wants to get the 1st down. They've got great field position, so Mike Gottfried, there he is, has decided we're going to go try and get that 1st down. He's got Dickerson in at quarterback.
West Virginia leading Pittsburgh right now by a score of 10-0.
You know, before he came here, Mike Gottfried was a head coach at Murray State, University of Cincinnati, and Kansas before he took the job at Pitt. And after 2 years at Pitt, they decided they liked him so much that they renewed and extended his contract. He's got a long-term contract. He's really arrived in this campus.
And like the stability that I think he can bring to this program. 7th play of the drive, started on the Pitt 32, but no play as important as this one. It's going to be 4th down and about less than a yard. All inside the 21-yard line to the 20. And if you look at the yard marker on the far side, he needs to get inside that to about the 19.5. Everybody in a compressed backfield. Walker and Crossman the setback, double tight end. Actually 3 tight ends in the game. Dickerson calls his own number. He may have it. Dickerson followed his guard. It looks like he's got it.
Two tight ends, they're in there close, and Dickerson just goes up under the left, over the left guard, and Calaguire. And watch Parker, the defensive tackle 94. He raises up and permits Dickerson to slip under him to make the play.
And also he got a great block from Calaguire. Calaguire really fired out on the nose guard that time. 1st down, Pittsburgh. Dickerson to throw, scrambling, and they'll get him from behind. He loses the football. It goes out of bounds. It'll stay in Pitt's possession, apparently. Yes, it will. Back to the 32-yard line.
Great effort by Herring. And they came with the linebackers on the early down, went man for man, thinking pass. They put pressure, forced him out of the pocket, and Chris Herring, the linebacker, 49, you'll see it here. They push him out of the pocket by the pressure from the inside. 49 picks up on him here. Herring, who can run down people from his linebacker position, catches Dickerson. And he's fortunate as he flips that ball to the side for that thing to go out of bounds. Chris Herring, the junior from Pueblo, California, Colorado, started last year in his first year at West Virginia.
Loss of 12 brings up 2nd and 22. Dickerson to throw. Short pattern, has a man complete. That's Tootin. Inside the 25 to about the 22-yard line. So he got some of it back, a gain of about 9 on the play.
Well, it's pretty tough to get it all back in one shot. They picked up enough to get it back in close. It's going to be 3rd and long. Watch this play. It's almost possession. Great effort here by Fox, 61, as he tries to peck that thing before it goes out of bounds. We mentioned Herring. Herring's a junior college player out of Pueblo, Colorado. Came to West Virginia last year and started for him in his first year on campus, and he's been a mainstay of their defense ever since.
West Virginia 10-0 over Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh staring at a 3rd and 14 from the Mountaineer 23-yard line. Dickerson wants to throw. Looks for Tootin in the corner. It is complete. Touchdown. From Camden, New Jersey, the junior at 6 feet, 175, his first touchdown reception of the season.
And Henry Tootin just got great field position, body position on Willie Edwards, and a beautiful pass by Dickerson, and he got up in front of him. This was an exceptional play by both the quarterback and the receiver to get a score.
We've got a change in the placement. It's going to be Kaplan, the freshman, getting the call, and the point after is good. Or rather, that is Bauman. I'm sorry. Going the other way. Charlie Bauman for West Virginia. Thought there was a change in there.
Watch it here. This is a beautifully thrown ball. There's Tootin. He just out-jumps Edwards. He's got position on him, and Edwards holds on. But he doesn't make the play, and it's a great effort by Tootin to make this catch as you watch it, as it comes right at you at ground level. This ball has a lot of authority on it, and Tootin just gets up in front, and with Edwards all over him, still makes the play. That's a great catch, and Pitt is right back in this ball game.
And that was Scott Kaplan on the point after for Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh on the board. They trail by 3. Where the Panthers have hit the scoreboard. Henry Tootin drawing one in from Darnell Dickerson. Scott Kaplan kicked the extra point, and Pittsburgh trails by only a field goal.
They're right back in this ball game, and it was again the quarterback Dickerson who brought him down the field. He can run, he can pass. We've got 2 great ones here today, and we know they can score, so it's just a matter of the defense digging in and making a big place for them. Right now, we've got a ball game, 10-7. Plenty of time left in this second quarter.
Napoleon is deep now for West Virginia. Kaplan to kick. He was only supposed to handle kickoffs today, found himself doing placements. And there's his kick. And Napoleon is going to run under it. No, it's going to be the up back who'll get it. And he is squashed at about the 27-yard line. Prentice Wright in on the tackle after the 11-yard return. Wright playing on the special teams, and this is West Virginia's start on their drive of the 28.
They sacrificed something to have Kaplan kick off because he doesn't have a strong leg as far as kickoffs go, but he gets the ball up high and gives his coverage a chance to get under. At that time, Prentice Wright made a great play from the outside.
8:27 left to go in the first half. West Virginia with the football. Aaron Evans is in at fullback this time. Play action. Here's a reverse to Rembert. Rembert turns the corner. He's got speed. Gets out to the 40-yard line as he squared his shoulders and gets the first down, it looks like. Cornell Holloway in on the stop after an 11-yard gain.
We saw them run that play last week, and Reggie Rembert, as we look at the scoring drive, 10 plays, 67 yards, and a touchdown pass to Tootin to get him back in the game at 10-7. But Reggie Rembert can really fly. He can catch the ball and get upfield and go deep, but he's excellent on running those reverses, and the threat of him always being there puts pressure on the outside linebackers for West Virginia to stay at home. That time they didn't, and he got a first down.
Evans and Brown, the setbacks now. Adrian Moss is the tight end that came to the near side, and the handoff is going to go. It's going to go to the second man through, and that is going to be A.B. Brown. Curtis Bray on the tackle for Pittsburgh after the 3-yard gain.
Last week when they were down 14-0 to Maryland, Don Nalen decided, hey, we're going to go right after these people and run up inside. They're starting to do a little bit of more of that with their tailback and their fullback behind their very big and experienced offensive line.
2nd and 8. Here's Harris on the pitch. And this is Brown. Gets back to about the 45-yard line. It'll be a gain of about 3 on the play. Osowski also Hampton there in on the stop. And let's get out of the sidelines for a word on the passing game for Pittsburgh. Stan Savran.
Thank you, Steve. Of course, receivers always think they can get open, but Henry Tootin went to Darnell Dickerson on several occasions and said, I can beat the guy on this pattern. They finally went to the play, indeed, touchdown. Before that, Johnny Rembert of West Virginia has gone to Major Harris on the sideline, told him he could beat his man on a deep pattern. They called it upstairs and got the okay to go ahead and try it. Steve?
Third down coming up for West Virginia. Here is the pass. It is by Harris out into the flats. Osowski on the tackle. And getting the ball is going to be Rembert on the corner again, just as Stan pointed out.
This is off the play action. This is off of a counter option. He comes down the line like he's going to pitch it, but he pulls back, and the receiver, Rembert, comes down and curls back to the inside. Very tough to defend against because of the threat of the run. Everybody reacts, gets upfield. The linebackers particularly that have to cover underneath against that curl pattern. Another first down for West Virginia.
They're in Pitt territory. Play fake by Harris again. Harris guns in traffic, going for a man in traffic. It is incomplete in the end zone. Intended over there for Jamie Lamont.
That time there was a little hesitation on the part of Major Harris. When he threw the ball, he threw it off balance, he threw it under, he threw it short, and he was fortunate he didn't come up with an interception. The crowd was looking for some interference, but it was so poorly thrown that the officials made the right call. Incomplete pass, second down and 10.
Calvin Phillips comes to the near side, the far side occupied by Rembert on 2nd and 10. Fast-moving first half. Here's the pitch to Brown. Brown straight ahead, goes to about the 36-yard line. Coming up to clean up the play is Washington. Also in on the stop is going to be Ricardo McDonald, the freshman linebacker from Paterson, New Jersey.
Very hard to get outside. Pittsburgh playing their linebackers up the field, conscious of the option. As we look at other scores from the ACC, Duke ahead of Virginia second quarter. But that time he cut it back, A.B. Brown, as he started on the corner, turned it back inside, made good yardage.
See Georgia and South Carolina tied as well. Third down and about 3 for West Virginia at the Pitt 36. Mountaineers lead by 3. Here's Brown on the corner. Hampton wrestles him down. It's going to be close to a first down.
Excellent job by Alonzo Hampton, who Mike Gottfried said has played very well this year. He's been a pleasant surprise for him on the corner. He's got size and speed. He just lacked experience coming into this season. But watch the play here. He just doesn't give an inch, makes a big play on 28. And they're going to have to measure for this one. It's going to be awfully close.
Very close over there by the Pitt sideline as you look at Alonzo Hampton. Stepping right in. There's not an awful lot of experience in that defensive secondary. Really, Troy Washington, the only returning starter.
He's the key man at safety, and he's the leader, but they had to move Lewis Riddick, from his fullback position on offense and put him at strong safety. And, of course, Cornell Holloway and Hampton are 2 new cornerbacks for him. So they are inexperienced, but they're fine athletes, and Hampton in particular has come along real fast.
Holloway came into his own the last 2 or 3 games of the season last season for Pittsburgh and drew starting assignments. But really, you're talking about guys who have very few starts. And here's how close it is. It is not going to be a first down. It's going to be, instead, 4th and inches.
Okay, with the ball sitting outside the 30-yard line of Pitt, Don Nalen has to make the decision on 4th down, and he's made it. He's going for it.
Forced by the great play of Alonzo Hampton, Aaron Evans finds himself in the backfield. He's a great blocker from Richmond, Virginia.
In this situation, normally West Virginia behind their big and experienced offensive line, you would think they'd run the football, but with Major Harris at quarterback, anything can happen. We saw him come up in a similar situation on goal line last week and run a bootleg for a touchdown.
4th and inches. Ball at the 33-yard line of Pittsburgh. Harris with Evans and Brown in back of it. Phillips and Rembert split to the bottom. Here's the pitch. Brown on the corner. Osowski in pursuit. He's got the first down. And a flag after the play.
That flag's going to go against Pitt. It's going to be on the sideline. But we heard earlier when Stan Savran was talking about how they were going to defend against the option that they wanted the linebacker to cover here. The linebacker, 55, Osowski, doesn't have the speed nor the angle to make the play. And there it is. Upfield, big play. Watch the push out of bounds. And watch Osowski as he comes across here. He's hustling, but he just doesn't have the speed to keep up with A.B. Brown. There's the play out of bounds, number 43.
Late hit.
Washington, the free safety, gives him a shove. And this puts Pitt in really tough field position.
Brings West Virginia down to the Pitt 13.5-yard line. You tack on half the distance to the goal line after the gain. It goes inside the 30. 5:24 left to go, first half. West Virginia 10-7 over Pittsburgh, and the Mountaineers are driving. Here is Brown. Not much there. Sims made one of the hits on the tackles for Pittsburgh. Also Curtis Bray getting up from the bottom of the pile. Homecoming for A.B. Brown, also for Major Harris, both Pittsburgh area players.
When you look at this Pittsburgh defense, we mentioned if there was a difference in these two ball clubs, it's probably the lack of experience on the defense. Not talent, not raw talent, but inexperience. Bray, a freshman starting. Boykin backs him up. McDonald, another freshman at linebacker. They're going to hang tough right here.
Here comes Harris on the option, tucks it inside. A flag is thrown. He gets back to the original line of scrimmage. Olszewski in on the stop with Bray, but let's see what the flag is going to be.
Big effort by that Pitt defense, and Olszewski is the leader. He's the middle linebacker. He's the guy they look to. He's got the experience. Big play as he comes up. They gamble there. Jerry Olszewski, a senior. He did not play last year against West Virginia. He was injured out of Youngstown, Ohio. He's the coach on the field. They really respect him highly, not only for his talent, but just what he brings to the entire ball club.
He's got his job cut out for him this year with two regular freshmen on either side of him in those outside linebacker spots. He's the man who's got to keep them together, especially with Grossman out. See what the call is going to be. It's a holding call
during the run, 10-yard
against West Virginia.
Second down.
So this will move the ball back outside the 20 to the 21-yard line. Actually to the 22. Mentioned A.B. Brown there. You see the penalties. West Virginia's been penalized 6 times for 50 yards. Pittsburgh's only received 1, that last one just moments ago. Grandis Bell comes into that defensive huddle. Don Nealon is sent the play in. 4:26 left to go, as you see in the first half. Time rolling down, and here is Harris looking for the end around to Bell, and he decides wisely to keep it as Bray gets it back to the 33-yard line for an 11-yard loss.
Pittsburgh likes to come after you. They don't do it as much necessarily because of their inexperience, but they come hard here, and they're looking to go again with this reverse. They brought Prentice Bell, number 1, into the game, but there's much too much penetration right there as we see number 58, Bray, the freshman, makes the play initially, and then everybody else with Olszewski coming to the football, and Major Harris is now looking at 3rd and 29.
Actually, a good decision by Harris not to hand off to Grandis Bell in that situation. He's going to be back to throw. Big rush on, gets rid of it, and he was hit as he got rid of it. It's intercepted. Intercepted by Troy Washington at the 2-yard line.
And he was so anxious. Big play by Washington. Once again, Major Harris throws the ball short. Gives the free safety, Washington 43, a chance to come up and make the play. His feet went from out under him, or else he would have made a good return. But Pitt stops the drive and gets the ball back.
And they'll get the ball back at their own 1-yard line, but they're down by 3. The Pitt Panthers off on a big play here at the end of the first half. The pass interception by Washington.
Washington comes up on this football as it was underthrown by Harris. He slips there. And they take over on the 1-yard line, stop a drive. West Virginia comes away with no points, and Pitt still trails only by 3.
But they're backed up 99 yards away. Here is Dickerson. He's going to throw from his own end zone. Rushes out of there in a hurry. He's out over the 5 and gets down to the 8-yard line. Ellis is to make sure that he doesn't go any further. Interesting call on first down.
Interesting call because they want to get it upfield. He didn't expect that kind of pressure, but his athletic ability got him out of trouble here. But only a player of this quality can do this. Watch Dickerson as he slides away from that tackle by Parker, gets out over the 5-yard line, and makes a bad play into a good gain. They take that anytime down deep, and they're looking at 2nd and 4 on their own 8-yard line.
Crossman into the ball game now. 2nd down, about 3. Dickerson handing it off. This is Walker. Adam Walker over the 10 and gets thrown down by Darrell Whitmore, Bo Orlando, and Ronaldo Turnbull just as he crosses the 11-yard line close to the 12, but he's got the first down.
Didn't want to get him out there. Didn't want to give him a chance. They want to force a kick here, West Virginia, if they could. With the time on the clock, just under 3 minutes, maybe get the ball back. But Pitt, because of Darnell Dickerson, got a chance and made a first down.
To the top of your screen, that is Williams. Out of the I formation, Dickerson calling the signals. Back to throw, has some time, over the middle, incomplete, looking for his tight end, Vernon Kirk. Deron Ellis almost got a hand on it.
That time he forced the ball. That time he made a mistake and got away with it because the receiver he was looking for had 3 white jerseys around him, and Ellis almost came up with the interception. Deron Ellis, the junior out of Norristown, Pennsylvania, number 66, one of the inside linebackers for West Virginia.
Had a great week last week with 5 tackles versus Maryland. Tom Hubner comes into the formation. Dickerson this afternoon, 7 passes for 103 yards in 12 attempts, a touchdown, and he's had 1 picked off. That's probably the most ambitious that Pitt has gotten in their passing game thus far this season. 2nd and 10. Out of the eye. Stepping inside the rush. Dickerson to run. Dickerson wisely grounds himself at the 23-yard line. Depending on the spot, looks like he's got another first down. Whitmore makes sure he's down.
He does have another first down. Again, he got away on a bootleg action. Good block by his left guard. Gets to keep the contained man out of his face. And watch the play here. Watch the guard come over, knock down Turnbull, the outside linebacker responsible for contain, and he gets upfield for the first down. And with just over 2 minutes to go, Pittsburgh is moving the football.
First down. Dickerson gives first man through. That's Crossman. Crossman's picking up a lot of work here this afternoon. He moves the ball out over the 28-yard line. Deron Ellis stops him just shy of the 29. Gain of the play of 5 brings up 2nd and 5. Cherpak is in at the left offensive guard in place of Chris Getz. He actually made that nice block a few moments ago.
Cherpak is a solid player, can play either side for him. They bring him in, they lose nothing in their starting offensive line. He's 6'4", 270 pounds. He's got experience. He's playing left guard, as you noted.
Slot to the top. 2nd down. Dickerson, 2nd man through. Walker, but it is going to be Robert Pickett waiting for him as he got the football.
Bringing those outside linebackers. Pickett from the right side, number 45. Outstanding game. Outstanding 3 games thus far. 2-year starter. Watch him appear on the scene on the left side. And number 29, Walker, never had a chance to make the cut. He's 6 foot. He's not big, but he is active and fast. One of the co-captains of the defensive football team.
5 tackles and a sack against Maryland. That's his first tackle for loss this season. Pittsburgh facing 3rd down for the 8th time. They've converted 2 thus far. 3rd and 11. They're trailing by 3. Walker, the lone setback for Darnell Dickerson. Dickerson back to throw. Pocket closes down, and Turnbull sacks him at the 18.
Got to use their timeouts here. Got to think about it. Oh, I guess they're forgetting. They just want to go in at halftime. Excellent job by the defense. They kept Dickerson. Watch the white jerseys now. He doesn't have a chance to scramble. Once he looks upfield and decides he wants to run, they really contain him here well. Great play by 87, Ronaldo Turnbull. And as you look upfield, watch the coverage here. Double covering on the outside receiver.
West Virginia.
Underneath. Good job by the secondary and a good job by the up front 4 people to put the pressure on the quarterback.
And Don Nealon calls timeout. His football team's going to get the ball back, and that's a pretty good call to make, really, when you consider that Pitt is having trouble with their punt game. Opportunity to get field position and maybe a play. And don't forget, here at halftime, Genesee Cream Ale brings you our Great American Champions feature. Got lots of other things for you here this afternoon as well. But 7 seconds remain here with West Virginia going to get the ball back.
Well, considering also the problems that Pitt has with their punting game, you could very well see just an all-out rush and take the gamble to get that football. And I'm sure that's what we're going to see here.
Here's what Jeff Van Horn has done on the day. 2 punts, 31 yards. He's had a long one of 43. Had a short one that was partially deflected of 19. But as you pointed out, Bob, on both times, there's been a long time from snap till foot meets leather, so to speak.
Well, he's a slow punter, and that's dangerous, and particularly when you got 10, 11 guys up on the line of scrimmage coming after you. We have a single safety. Prentice right back. They're coming with 10.
That's what Jeff Van Horn's done today, as we said. He'll face 10 men deep.
And look at what Jeff Van Horn is looking at from the end zone camera that you just saw. He's with his feet on the 5-yard line, 10 men coming after him.
Brandis Bell, the lone receiver for West Virginia. And Van Horn gets a swift line drive. It's going to drive Bell back, and it may achieve the purpose. It does. Gets it back to the 38-yard line, and time runs out here in the first half. Not a pretty kick, but it did the trick this time as Jeff Van Horn goes to the sideline. An interesting first half. The defenses were very strong, but then here a case of West Virginia just buckling down and moving the football.
It wasn't pretty, but it was really sloppy at times, but there's a lot of emotion out here, and the defense in a game like this comes alive. And both defenses have made very big plays for West Virginia and Pittsburgh.
And we talked about the importance of Major Harris and what he has meant to this football team, especially in that first drive where he got that 38-yard run that saved a drive and kept the drive alive. Major Harris has been a major part of this afternoon. Darnell Dickerson likewise has played an important role for Pittsburgh, having 8 passes completed so far in the first half. He's thrown a touchdown pass to Henry Tootin, and that's where we stand here at halftime. It is West Virginia out in front of Pittsburgh. We're at halftime. Stay tuned. Lots of things coming up. West Virginia 10-7. They lead the 15th-ranked Pitt Panthers by a score of 10-7. It's been as tight as the score suggests. It's been as tight a game as we thought it would be. Both teams coming out a little bit nervously thus far here in the first half of play, but you have to expect that with so much at stake. You have a backyard rivalry that's now in its 81st season. These teams have met continuously since 1943, and even though the leaves haven't fallen here yet, we still have 6 bowl scouts, including people from the Sugar Bowl and several other important bowls, the Fiesta Bowl. They're here to see what Eastern football is all about, and these two great American independents going at each other. You know, we've talked a lot about the pressure on young players to perform well for both teams. We're seeing guys like Darnell Dickerson, Major Harris, also Mark Spindler. The last two we're going to talk about in particular. 2 players who have come in and have had a great impact on their programs in their first year. Mark Spindler and Major Harris are our great American champions. Genesee Cream Ale presents Great American Champions. Major Harris, starting quarterback at West Virginia from Pittsburgh, a sophomore. Mark Spindler, starting defensive tackle at Pittsburgh from Scranton, Pennsylvania, a sophomore. These 2 young talents came in and answered the call for a major college power their first year of eligibility and have had a dominating impact on their program after only 1 season of play. Pittsburgh, a school that nationally recruits, brought in Mark Spindler, one of the most sought-after 17-year-olds in the country last year, and handed him a big assignment at defensive tackle. The defensive line tradition stands firm at Pitt, with a history of talent such as Randy Holloway, Hugh Green, and Bill Moss. Spindler was one of only 4 freshmen to ever start his first game at Pitt in the last 2 decades, behind Tony Dorsett, Hugh Green, and Bill Fraley.
Well, Mark Spindler, first of all, you know, when he came to us from Scranton, Pennsylvania as a freshman, he didn't play like a freshman. I mean, he played way above freshman capabilities.
West Virginia recruited Major Harris in 1986 when they realized his potential as a quarterback.
Well, in the recruitment of Major Harris, we had him in our football camp as a junior in high school. We thought he was very outstanding. It became quite obvious to me that he was going to be a great quarterback. Some of the other schools recruited as Major as a defensive halfback. Thank goodness we felt he was a quarterback because we were right.
The redshirt freshman earned the starting spot last year and ended his season with 1,815 yards. The Mountaineers have been looking for a strong presence at quarterback since the Jeff Hostetler years, and Major Harris has delivered that impact.
I believe all great programs have the influx of that great young quarterback or that great young lineman. You know, you're expected to get a job done out of your seniors and your 5th-year seniors. But when you have a Major Harris come around as a freshman, it gives you a little extra shot of adrenaline.
Spindler, named as the top defensive lineman in the country last year by Sporting News magazine, has been selected preseason Athlon All-East this season.
He has great intensity. He plays hard. He practices hard. The game of football means an awful lot to him. He does have leadership characteristics. He's young, but yet on a ball club where there's only 12 seniors, he has to be a leader for us on the field.
Major Harris and Mark Spindler, well on their way to being legends and already great American champions. Thus far this afternoon, Major Harris is 2 out of 6, a 48-yard touchdown pass, of course, to Reggie Rembert. Spindler received an injury, got kicked in the stomach, but will come back and play in this ball game, so we'll see a lot of those 2 young men as this afternoon goes along. Our score here at halftime at Pitt Stadium shows West Virginia, 11th ranked in the country, leading Pittsburgh 10-7. We'll have highlights from last week's Great American Football action after this from your local station.
So much emotion in the defense. When you get emotional, it's defense and special teams that show it, and both defenses for both West Virginia and Pittsburgh have shown it today. They made the plays, they've created the situation.
Well, a lot of great American independents were in action, of course, last week. We're going to take a look at some of their highlights. Of course, we've had some great plays from individual players thus far this season, and you're going to see a few of them now as we look at our Rolling Rock review. University Park, Pennsylvania, Boston College challenging, always tough. Penn State and BC has settled on a quarterback.
Mark Camphouse hits the speedy Marcus Cherry up the sideline in the corner of the end zone, 45 yards, first score for BC.
And, of course, it helps to have somebody out there you're very familiar with, and Mark Camphouse is quite familiar with the guy he's going to throw to here.
Tom Waddle, Moeller High School, the same combination, another touchdown. BC up ahead of Penn State.
But a blocked punt in this turn of events that you're about to see. David Rooney, the original punter for Boston College, has been hurt. Brian Lowe doing the kicking, but look what happened.
Eddie Johnson, the defensive back for Penn State, comes in, kicks the ball out on the 37-yard line.
Boston College had a tie at that point, but Penn State in beautiful field position to kick a field goal, which they do, and they beat Boston College by a score of 23-20. Tough loss for Jack McNell's crew. Moving on to Lansing, East Lansing, Michigan. In fact, Spartan Stadium, where Notre Dame taking on Michigan State. Reggie Hose accounted for a lot of points this year for the Fighting Irish.
A replay 2 weeks in a row as Reggie Ho comes through with a field goal and gets him out front.
18 out of 39 points he scored thus far. And look at Tony Rice, the running quarterback. Goes in from 8 yards out.
Another one of the great running quarterbacks in the country. First score on the ground for Notre Dame this season.
And this is how Notre Dame has scored a lot of points this season with their defense. Watch Mike Stonebreaker.
39 yards, the linebacker intercepts the ball, returns it in the end zone, and Notre Dame goes on.
Notre Dame wins against yet another Michigan opponent, 20-3 the final, beating Michigan State. Moving now to Annapolis, Maryland, where Temple is looking for their first win of the season against Navy, which is 2-0. Alton Grizzard will go out to pass, but he finds lots of company in his own backfield.
Temple, very big physically on defense, comes after him, forces a fumble here. The midshipmen look on.
And, of course, Temple has their offense geared up for this one. Watch Tony Laro. He'll go upstairs to Mike Pallas, 35 yards for the deciding score.
And the first win of the season for the Temple Owls.
Temple wins it by a score of 12-7 over the midshipmen of Navy. Moving on to the Meadowlands, East Rutherford, New Jersey, Vanderbilt and Rutgers, Scott Ernie. What a day he had.
Scott Ernie coming here, 30, he hits number 31, Mike Body, and Body gets in the end zone for the Rutgers score, 17 yards.
436 yards total for Scott Ernie, the outstanding Rutgers quarterback. This time he'll find a favorite receiver upfield in Eric Young.
Eric Young, number 22, the split end, who really makes acrobatic catches, has had a sensational start for Rutgers, but they fall short by 1, 31-30. Second year in a row that Vanderbilt has beaten Rutgers.
Other scores of great American independence in action, as we said at the outset of our broadcast. Pittsburgh, of course, beating Ohio State 42-10.
West Virginia really rolling in the second half to beat Maryland handily 55-24.
And here's Washington and Army. Washington beats Army, but Army rolled up a lot of offense in that game.
And they didn't score. Washington scored late to go ahead of them 31-17. It was a close ball game going into the fourth period.
Syracuse had the day off. Let's take a look at what's happening today around the country. Northwestern at Army, Boston College. They're a different team now. They like to run the football.
They like to run the football. They're going to try it down in Texas against TCU. Navy, meanwhile, plays at the Citadel.
Notre Dame and Purdue, that's at Notre Dame Stadium, and what a big game. This is Dick Anderson going up against a guy who worked for 11 years, Joe Paterno, Penn State and Rutgers.
And that's right, and Virginia Tech, Syracuse comes back to play Virginia Tech.
You know, we talk about some of the great players that have gone down the line for both of these two teams, West Virginia and Pittsburgh. We've talked about the backyard brawl. So many great players, especially you look at Pittsburgh and some of the people that they brought through here down through the years. I'm sure they've got some great memories.
Well, you know, Mike Godfrey talked about recruiting for Pittsburgh, and he talked about tradition, and he talked about great players. You go back to Ditka, Bill Fralick, who played here recently, a high draft choice, a whole host of players of great quality, Dan Marino. You could go on forever. They've got a great tradition, a lot of great names.
And, of course, one great name we had an opportunity to talk to earlier this week, Tony Dorsett, of course, Heisman Trophy winner and now playing with the Denver Broncos. Talk about his impressions of the West Virginia-Pittsburgh rivalry.
I have very fond memories playing the West Virginia Mountaineers. I can remember very distinctly it being a very intense rivalry between the two schools. As a matter of fact, it was so intense. One year I can remember, my senior year, I was in the process of breaking the NCAA record for 200-plus yards, and to tell you that the intensity of it and the things that go on during the course of a Pitt West Virginia ballgame. I had been lucky enough to surpass 200 yards, and then in the process of next play I lost it and went back to like 199. But anyway, through the course of the ball game, I was being intimidated the whole ball game. Every time I'd run a play, going back to the huddle, they pushed me behind my head, called me all kind of names, pinched me in pile-ups, and finally it got to the point where I got a little frustrated, got beside myself, and started a fight. I grabbed the ball and I banged the guy against the head, and it was a big old brawl going on out there. And I ended up not breaking that NCAA record because of that. But you'd go down to West Virginia and get in at that time they were playing in the old stadium, the Snake Pit, and the fans were about 2 to 3 yards away from you and harassing the heck out of you. You know, I can remember very distinctly again. And I could understand this one though. We were from the University of Pittsburgh. They're the Mountaineers. They're down in the hills and the mountains, and they'd say they had this chant going and saying, "Go back, go back, go back to the woods. Your coaches are farmers. Your team is no good." I could never understand that. I said, man, we're from the city. They're from the woods. But it was a lot of fun playing those guys.
Well, that's not your standard quote from Tony Dorsett. He tells it like it is. An emotional rivalry between West Virginia and Pittsburgh in its 81st renewal. There's our score at halftime. It's West Virginia leading Pittsburgh by a score of 10-7. We'll return after this look at the University of Pittsburgh and West Virginia University. Virginia leading Pittsburgh by a score of 10-7 in this battle between two great American independents, two top 20 teams, number 11 against number 15. West Virginia came out, and it looked like both sides defensively, well, they were a little tentative starting out.
Yeah, and they came after each other. They made mistakes, but there's a lot of emotion because, as you talked about it earlier, there's a lot of players here that know each other. They come from this area. They've been recruited by both schools. It's not just another game. It's a real rivalry, and we've talked enough about it, but it's true, and I think it showed itself early in this ball game.
Let's take a look at the stats here, first half for West Virginia and Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh leading in first downs, in passing yards, and actually in total yards in time of possession, but opportunistic. That's what West Virginia's been so far.
I think it's surprising to see how small and short the running yardage, the rushing yardage is here. And you look at the turnovers, it's pretty equal. The penalties, however, West Virginia was 6 for 50 yards, particularly in that last drive, which took them away from getting some points before the half.
And, of course, we take a look at some of the highlights of this afternoon's game. We look at West Virginia doing most of their scoring in the first half of play, actually in the first quarter. Let's watch Major Harris in action, and he'll find Reggie Rembert.
And he has plenty of time here to wait for Rembert to come open in the end zone, going to work on the cornerback here and just out-jumping him. Look at the time he has. He puts the ball there, and Rembert at 6'6" takes advantage of his ability, and that's a big score early on for West Virginia.
And that puts them up by a score of 7-0, and this play set up a West Virginia field goal.
It sure did, as the quarterback for Pitt, Dickerson, drops back here. He delivers the football on the corner, and Mays comes up on the inside. Alvoid Mays, number 3, to make the interception, his second in 2 weeks. Another key one last week against Maryland. That was big, led to 3 points.
But West Virginia would get Pitt on the scoreboard. Pittsburgh would get themselves up there, and this is Darnell Dickerson in action. He's looking for Henry Tootin.
Henry Tootin, the split end, comes open here in the end zone. He jumps and out-jumps the cornerback, Edwards, 47. Great play by both the quarterback and the receiver, and Pittsburgh gets its score.
And they trail here by a score of 10-7. Let's take a look at what's going to happen next week. Most of our stations are going to be following us as we take a look at Boston at Alumni Stadium in Chestnut Hill, Massachusetts. Boston College taking on Pittsburgh, these same Pitt Panthers. So we hope you'll join us for great American independent football. We've got more to come. Second half action is coming your way right after this word from your local station.
Exploded, but right now just trying to get some things going on first down so that we're not always in a second and long yardage situation.
West Virginia's last possession, you had 2 quarterback sacks from your outside linebackers. Will you continue to do that?
Well, I think we're going to come after them a little bit more, and again, they're good. I mean, we just got to be sound, Stan. That's the big thing.
Okay, Mike, thanks very much. All right, head coach Mike Gottfried of the Panthers. They trail 10-7. We're set for the second half kickoff. Back upstairs to Steve and Bob.
Thank you very much, Stan. And let's take a look at our Apple Computers Student Athlete of the Week. He's David Tanzos. Tanzos, an economics and business major, grade point average 3.99. That's caused by 1 A-, and that was the highest grade that particular player, David Tanzos, out of Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, got. He's a junior. And, of course, right now it's West Virginia leading by 3, 10-7.
Jefferson Pilot Teleproductions' exclusive live coverage of Great American Independent Football is brought to you by Rolling Rock Beer, same as it ever was. And by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately?
That was a very good interview, Del Stan. That was good. He got some good stuff there. That was good, Stan.
Welcome back to Pitt Stadium, and our score is West Virginia 10, Pittsburgh 7. You see Mike Gottfried scanning the sidelines now as West Virginia will kick off here in the second half.
And I thought he said some interesting things. Throwing the ball on the early downs, first down, trying to come up with enough yardage not to put themselves second and long as we look at some scores around the country. But most importantly, they got to just keep the ball away from West Virginia's offense and keep moving, and there's a big one. In the second quarter, Rutgers trying to bounce back, leading Penn State.
Two teams who were involved in heartbreaking losses a year ago. Clemson 7-0 over Georgia Tech. They're in the first quarter of that football game, and right now Brad Carroll getting set to kick off here for West Virginia. Brad Carroll kicking off instead of Charlie Bauman. Back deep now, Michael Hadley and Lee McRae, number 6 at the top of your screen. Going back, and Hadley will take it 2 yards deep. He'll come out at the 20, cuts to the sideline, has some help, and finally is knocked out of bounds at the 22-yard line. Ron Weaver helps out, 25-yard return on that situation. Let's take a look at how the two quarterbacks compare statistically here in the first half.
You know, coming into this ball game, it was a game with two great quarterbacks, two talented athletes, could run and pass, and when you see it there, Harris has not done much in the passing department. Dickerson surprised us by throwing 12 times in the first half. They have really been a tailback team, Pitt, up to this point.
31 of those 48 yards by Harris through the air were caught by Reggie Rembert on that touchdown play. First and 10, Pitt at their own 24. Lone setback is Walker. Back to throw, Dickerson on first down. He laces the needle complete over the 32-yard line, complete to Henry Tootin, who's been very active today.
And just as Mike Gottfried said, we want to throw the ball a little bit more on first down. They come out, drop back. Tootin comes from the right side of the screen and curls back, and he really puts the ball inside because there's good coverage here. He just makes a great play on the pass. Give that credit to Dickerson and to Tootin for concentrating on the ball.
First and 10 now for Pittsburgh. Their own 36. Nobody in the backfield, and there may be a mix-up as Bill Osborne looks over the formation and finds Darnell Dickerson bereft of anybody in back of him. I'm not sure as if Mike Gottfried had that in his design.
I'm sure not, with 14:32 left in the third period to have to use one of his timeouts, but better than bust the play. There is number 2, Reggie Williams, who was a starter last year at the wide receiver position. Tootin came on and really beat him out for that this year, but Williams can go catch the ball. He was the leading receiver on this ball club a year ago.
See Gottfried sending Crossman out onto the field, and now he's calling the official over. See what the controversy is over on the sideline, and they'll get back to playing here momentarily. But Pittsburgh, more importantly, has to burn a timeout early.
Mike Gottfried said about this club, we're a young team, we have a lot of fun, we're very loose. He says, yet there's a quiet confidence about him. There was a quiet confidence about him last week when they played Ohio State. He had a feeling they could win the game. They won big. Today, coming into the game, he was more concerned because he knew he was playing against a very experienced and talented West Virginia team, but he said his team was very loose and very relaxed coming into this ball game.
And so, West Virginia out there on defense. Pittsburgh now with the ball. They'll be looking at a first and 10, and they've burned a timeout, and they're getting set to send their offense back out of the field. Don Nealon is talking things over with William McDonald. You two teams have fought pretty much as we had expected them to. Both are averaging 50 and 54 points, respectively, with West Virginia that higher number coming into the game. But you knew with the skill level of these two defensive units that they weren't going to put anything of that order on this afternoon.
Well, the coaches have gotten to know the officials well enough. Let's get back into the ball game.
Dave Tanzos, our Apple Computer Student Athlete of the Week, is back into the ball game now for Pitt. And we're just underway here in the second half. Back to action as Darnell Dickerson brings him to the line, sends Tanzos into a wing to the right. Out of the eye, Crossman and Walker there. This is Walker on the pitch. Walker into the hole on the right side. Tackled by Mike Fox as he gets over the 35 down to the 38.
That time Pitt came with an extra tight end, Tassos, who came in the game and played at wingback, so they had an unbalanced formation. They had an extra man to the right side of the formation, and they ran in that direction, just trying to mix up perhaps the alignment of the West Virginia defense.
And we often forget the chess game that these coaches play against each other. That's part of it. Second down and 8 out of the eye. Pittsburgh with the ball. Darnell Dickerson on the long count will keep it on the option. Tucks it up. Turnbull's got him once. Chris Parker is a man who finally puts him down as he sneaks up over the 40-yard line to the 42, a gain of about 2.
Coming into this game, they said they run a little bit of option. They did not run it very well this time because they stretched it out, and Darnell Dickerson really didn't threaten the corner, and Ronaldo Turnbull, 87, just played his position, stretched it out. It never gave him a chance to turn it inside or pitch it on the corner. You can't play it any better, and because of that, Pittsburgh's looking at a 3rd and 5. There he is, Turnbull. We've called his name a lot over the last couple of weeks. He's an outstanding athlete.
Pitt is 2 for 8 on 3rd down conversions. Looking at 3rd and 5 from their own 41. One lone setback, and Dickerson has the shovel pass ahead to his man Ronald Redmond. It's free, and it's going to be an incompleted forward pass, as we've seen once before this afternoon.
Because there was so much pressure, the people coming in and penetrating, he never had a chance to get the shovel pass off. West Virginia just came after him on 3rd and 5 and took the chance, and forcing him again to punt. Watch this. Watch the pressure right in his face, right here, that forced that he never had a chance. Excellent play by Parker, big number 94, who's covering the receiver.
More drama again as Van Horn's into punt. He gets over a line, a low line drive that Bell will field at the 23. Up to the 30 and driven out of bounds at the 31-yard line. Again, not much of a return. No points for artistic quality on the kick, but it got the job done. 37-yard punt. 12:51 left to go in the 3rd quarter of play. West Virginia 10 and Pittsburgh 7. Ball back here once again. The announcers for this game are selected and compensated by Jefferson Pilot Teleproductions. This broadcast is a copyright presentation. Any use of this broadcast without the express permission of West Virginia University or the University of Pittsburgh is prohibited. West Virginia has the ball 1st and 10 at their own 31. And carrying the ball is A.B. Brown out over the 35-yard line. Tom Sims, looks like Jerry Osowski in on the stop.
We were waiting for them to come right after you. That's what they did against Maryland very effectively last week when they got behind. I wouldn't be a bit surprised that that's what they'll do in this half. Try to run the ball straight ahead, try to make some first downs, get their offense going, get away from looking for the big play.
That's what they did against Maryland. They just put the 2 tight ends in there, and they just ran the ball up the field. Let's see what happens. Brown and Taylor in the setback spots now. On 2nd down, and we've got flags all over the place. Carnell Smith jumps, but did Smider draw him? Let's see who he did. Smider's been alternating with Milton Redwine at that right offensive tackle this afternoon.
Smider's a big one. Close to 300 pounds, 297, but he jumped. Can you hear me? And that's the kind of mistake they don't need. They had a good 2nd down situation, 2nd and 3. Now they push the ball back at 2nd down and 8.
And to stay away from those obvious play call situations. The penalty puts West Virginia into one of those right now. That's their 7th penalty, 55 yards. 2nd and 8 from the 33. Harris wants his man right over the middle, and that's his tight end, Keith Wynn, and he hits him for about a 4-yard gain. Not much on a low pass. Riddick is there on the tackle.
You know what happened here before? We had to delay a game because Pitt, as we look at the press box, that's the Pitt coaches, the assistants up there. They lost communication with the sideline, and because they lost their phones, the officials called timeout and went over and told West Virginia they couldn't use their phones. But that was all been rectified. Everybody's talking to everybody, and we're going on with the game.
Third down. For West Virginia, they've got it at their own 38-yard line. They lead 10-7. That's Taylor across the formation. Harris to throw. He's got Bell wide open at the 46. Alonzo Hampton covering and knocks him out of bounds. It's good for the first down for West Virginia.
And Hampton gave him much too much room. Playing zone coverage, he gave number 1 Prentice Bell far too much room. As you see Harris coming out on a sprint out, he really delivers the ball with authority, but watch how far back number 3 Hampton is. By the time he comes up on it, it's a first down. Much too soft by Hampton, the cornerback.
8-yard gain for Grandis Bell, his first pass reception of the day. First and 10, West Virginia at their own 45. Split backs, and Harris rolling to his left. Big rush on, gets away from one man, and it's tackled by Carnell Smith at the 33. Tom Sims put the original rush on.
The play was made by Sims, the defensive tackle out of Detroit, Michigan, a transfer from Western Michigan. Watch number 89 come in. He makes the play here as Harris gets away from him. There is standing number 91, Carnell Smith, the outside linebacker, coming in from the backside. Sims, 6'4", 265, came to Pittsburgh from Western Michigan.
Loss of 11 on the play, brings down 2nd and 19. Rembert in motion to the bottom. Draw play straight ahead. Big yardage for A.B. Brown. A clear zone to the end zone. He's going all the way. 65 yards downfield for a West Virginia score. On 2nd and 19.
Coaches dream about this kind of a call. You catch them 2nd and 19, figuring you're going to throw the football. They're going to come after you. There's some gaps in the offensive and defensive line. They found it, and watch, they run this play, and they run it to perfection, and of course, it turns out to be a key touchdown. The transfer from Pittsburgh, A.B. Anthony Brown.
Here's Bauman for the kick and the point after. It is up, and it is good. West Virginia leads 17-7. Let's see the play again.
Here it is. They're coming after. The linebackers are blitzing to the outside. The tackles are pinching inside. A great job of blocking in the offensive line. And there it is. There's no safety to be found. Everybody's locked on somebody else. It's a perfect call. A.B. Brown.
A.B. Brown for 65 yards and a score, and West Virginia moves out by 10. They lead at 17-7. We'll be back after this from your local station. Where the West Virginia Mountaineers have taken a 17-7 lead over the Pitt Panthers in this battle between two great American independents. Pittsburgh getting set to receive the kick of Brad Carroll, who's handling the kickoff duties today instead of Charlie Bauman. That change on the special teams for West Virginia, but the draw play for A.B. Anthony Brown has him still buzzing. 64 yards downfield at the 10:23 mark in the third period. They give West Virginia their 10-point lead. Deep, McCray and Hadley now for Pittsburgh. Here's the kick. It's coming to Hadley at the 4. Hadley over the 20. He's drilled and brought down by West Virginia's number 39, Kevin Burrows. A 19-yard return on the play.
Here we go with the replay of the touchdown by A.B. Brown. See number 43 right there, the third man in and on the screen in blue. He's the free safety. He's Troy Washington. He's blitzing. It's a safety blitz, and because he's blitzing, there's nobody in center field, and that's why A.B. Brown had a chance to go all the way on that play for a touchdown. Great camera work.
1st and 10 coming up for Pittsburgh. They're at their own 22-yard line. Darnell Dickerson's going to throw. Has some time, looking over the middle for Tootin. Is it complete? Yes, at the 39-yard line. Willie Edwards covering on the play with Al Boyd-Mays.
And Pittsburgh continues to throw on the early downs. 1st and 10, they've really gone to the pass, particularly the drop-back pass as Darnell Dickerson sets up Tootin on the right of the screen. 81 is going to come in and break over the middle, deep beyond the linebackers, and he makes a nice play there and another first down. Tootin has good moves. They're afraid of him going deep. They're giving him that shorter intermediate pattern.
16-yard gain. Walker and Redmond, the setbacks now for Pitt. Osborne coming across a formation. This is going to be Walker carrying people over the 40-yard line to the 43.
Plenty of time, and Mike Gottfried wants to get first downs and move that football and get field position, come away with points. They only trail by 10. There's plenty of time left in the third period, well over 9.5 minutes.
That was Redmond on the last carry. Jim Gray comes in to make the tackle. Mike Gottfried pacing the sidelines. Sees his team down by 10. Third year here at Pitt. 15-9-1 his record. Had some great victories under him in just 2 years. Second down and 6. And off Walker. Walker falls ahead of the 45. Tripped up there by Parker. Theron Ellis comes back to finish it off.
Chris Parker, the senior defensive tackle from Whitehall, Pennsylvania, playing very tough. He's the leader of the defensive line for West Virginia. And he penetrates that line of scrimmage. He's done a good job working against Ricketts and Ratoes, the big offensive tackles for Pitt.
You see Theron Ellis and Chris Herring. Lonnie Brockman there trying to whip up the West Virginia end of the crowd. Big third down coming. West Virginia 17-7 over Pittsburgh. And the Panthers right now looking at 3rd and 3. Dickerson to throw. Has a man open. Tootin complete at the 47-yard line. Good for the first down.
Tootin that time again coming from the inside position. The ball was thrown low, but he hung on to it. Got the first down. That's been the combination today. Dickerson and Tootin as you watch from behind in the end zone as he delivers the football here to Tootin. Good catch.
Boy, he's been active today, Bob. 7 catches, 105 yards, and a touchdown. And
they pulled him out. It looks like maybe he's got a little cramp in his leg.
And they've got Barron Jackson in there at the wide receiver spot now, the flanker spot for Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
We'll talk about him. He's a great prospect.
That's him in motion right across the formation now on first down. Draw play, or delay actually, goes to Walker. Walker over the 45 down to about the 43-yard line.
Lots of people made the play, but the free safety, Darrell Whitmore, came up to make the hit, keep it from breaking. But it's awfully tough to run that delay action, that counter action against West Virginia. As you look at their defensive coordinator, Bob Shaw making the calls right there because they are so quick. They react very well to the football.
Good defensive ball club, and they've shown it here in the first couple of games. West Virginia 9th in pass defense, 13th according to NCAA stats. In total defense, 55,978 on the look at nearly capacity here at Pitt Stadium to see West Virginia and Pitt. Second down play. Dickerson carrying it like a loaf of bread out there at the 40-yard line. He's brought down shy of the first down after a gain of 3.
This is a counter option, and he takes a chance. He just hesitates a little longer. Watch how he keeps this ball out. He decides to tuck it up inside. You ought to tuck that ball with him. His pitch man trailing the play was Ronald Redmond, number 22, if he wanted him. But he kept the ball. It's 3rd and 3. They want to make first downs here.
They're putting a couple of tight ends into the ball game. They've got Tootin out.
Last time they did this, they came unbalanced. This time they go 2 tight ends, tight formation.
Split to the top is Reggie Williams. Out of the eye. 3rd down. This is Redmond. Redmond over the 40 down to the 38-yard line, and he's got the first down.
Good call running up behind Mark Stepnoski, the right guard, and Roman Matuz, the right tackle.
Stepnoski, of course, is All-American. Let's see the hole.
Watch on the right side. The right guard makes the hit, makes the block. 77, pins his man on the ground. Stepnoski, we talked about him earlier. His coaches feel he's as fine an offensive lineman as there is in the country.
Could be a high draft choice, an All-American, Outland Lombardi Trophy possibility. And they are close enough to measure, so they're going to bring the chain gang out and take a look at just how close this is. We had assumed that Walker had enough yardage for the first, or Redmond rather. Let's see what it's going to be. They've got it. There you see the distance that they
The one
got.
thing we haven't seen today, we haven't seen Darnell Dickerson take the ball and sprint on the corner. That's where he made his yardage against Ohio State and in the opening game. He really hasn't done that. We may see that in the clutch situation because he's got the speed to get on the corner. It could be that they're concerned about getting outside the defensive or the outside linebackers for West Virginia because they've got great pursuit and speed.
Redmond and Crossman are the backfield right now for Pittsburgh. 1st and 10 at the West Virginia 38. Here is the end around, and it's going to be a pass option by Osborne looking for his man. It was for Tootin, and he was interfered with by Mays. That's not the first time they've tried that play.
Right. This is beautifully executed in a way. He gives the ball back here to Osborne, his split receiver. He pulls up. There's pressure right there from Turnbull, but he gets the ball off. He underthrows it. But as the receiver tries to come back, Alvoid Mays just wraps himself around it. It was an obvious call. It was a tough break, but it's a great opportunity for Pittsburgh. There it is. And there's Mays. He just runs into him. By the time he found the ball, he interfered with him.
Ball is marked down to the 22-yard line. It's going to be a 1st down for Pittsburgh. That's not the first time that Bill Osborne has thrown that. 2 years ago, he threw it for a touchdown to Vernon Kirk in this very same rivalry.
This has been the most consistent drive we've seen Pitt on all day. They've mixed their plays with the passing and the running game inside. They've hit Tootin in the intermediate zone. They've got a chance here. A score will bring them right back, and this will make it an interesting second half.
Saw the penalty statistic. That has really hurt West Virginia today, but they have the lead by 10. Here's Dickerson to throw. Scrambling. Has a man open. Osborne overthrows it.
1st down, they go to the pass again. That time the pressure forced Dickerson out of the pocket, and he does not throw as well on the run as he does from the pocket, and he just lofted that ball out of bounds. Good job by the defense of West Virginia, both in the line and in the secondary.
And it's important now. Pittsburgh, of course, trying to get back into this thing. They're just 10 points down, 5:39 left. You know, you look at time of possession, all the statistics point to Pittsburgh, but of course West Virginia has had the big plays. That 64-yard play that went for the touchdown. Right now, Pitt trying to move this drive into its 9th play. It started at the 23-yard line. Dickerson scrambling, going for his life there. Wanted to throw to Walker. He's put down by Turnbull.
He was looking to come up and throw a screen back to Adam Walker, number 29. But the pressure by Turnbull makes the play. Watch this. See the fake to 29? He's going to come back to him. He's going to set up on a screen action. It's a bootleg, but there is Turnbull, the ever-present Ronaldo Turnbull, who has really put 2 games back-to-back that we've seen. He's outstanding. His speed, his size, he creates problems from a defensive outside linebacker position.
8 tackles against Maryland last week. He's had several major influences on this game. We look at 3rd down. West Virginia leading Pitt by 10. Pitt looking at 3rd down in West Virginia territory. Dickerson to throw. Flag on the play. Throw to the flats complete to Crossman at the 18-yard line. But let's see what the flag is going to be as Mays made the stop.
That time he just slipped the fullback, Crossman, out into the flat, got him underneath the coverage.
Looks like Pitt was moving.
But there could have been some movement before the play. It looks that way, and they're saying, no, we don't want to take it. Let's force it into a 4th down situation, and that means that Mike Godfrey's got to think about either going for it on 4th and 10 or trying a field goal.
Well, there's still plenty of time here in the 3rd quarter, but it is taking them a while to make the decision.
It's taking the officials a while to tell us what the decision is here.
Motion penalty declined by West Virginia as William McDonald will come out and
illegal motion, offense, decline.
It was declined to bring up 4th down, and Scott Kaplan is coming out to kick the field goal. Kaplan's boot will be his first ever in a field goal situation for Pittsburgh, and he'll kick it from the 25. It'll be a 35-yard field goal. Kaplan, just a freshman from Coral Springs, Florida. Van Horn, the regular kicker, 1 having a tough day and 2 having to handle the punts. Bill Osborne is the holder. There's the kick by the freshman. It is up and it is good. So Kaplan finds a way to start his career off with a 35-yard field goal kick to make it West Virginia 17 and Pitt 10 with 5:04 left to go in the third quarter of this backyard brawl from Pittsburgh. 10, Scott Kaplan, the field goal from 35 yards out. Let's look at it.
And watch Scott Kaplan after he kicks this. Number 9, first time he tries, first time he kicks. Look at this action. The old Cabbage Patch movement here. You think he won the Sugar Bowl or something?
His music video is due out soon. 5:04 left to go in the third quarter, and Kaplan's kick puts us at this juncture with West Virginia leading by a score of 17-10. Kaplan will get set to kick off once more. Eugene Napoleon is deep for West Virginia. Andre Johnson is there with him, with A.B. Brown, who's seeing some kickoff return duty today for West Virginia. Crowd of 55,000 plus stands and waits for this one to continue. There's the kick. A good one by Kaplan. And taking it down in the end zone. Wisely, Eugene Napoleon. He wanted to run it out, but he's not going to get the opportunity. An injury report from the sideline, Stan Savran.
Thank you, Steve. The carnage continues for the Pitt defense. Bert Grossman is not playing. Mark Spindler out for the rest of the game with a hip pointer. Now starting outside linebacker freshman Ricardo McDonald is out for the rest of the game. He's got a very bad ankle sprain. He's all wrapped up. He's through for the rest of the day. Steve?
Thank you, Stan.
That's a tough injury. With McDonald out, that means they're going to have to come with Prentice Wright, a sophomore at that linebacker position. He's very aggressive, but he's not a big guy at 5'10", 205. We'll see how that develops.
1st and 10, West Virginia. Here's the pitch, and it's going to go to Brown. A.B. Brown out to the 23-yard line. Not much gain on the play. Tackled by Curtis Bray at that outside linebacker spot.
Curtis Bray, the freshman out of Monroeville, Pennsylvania. Tremendous prospect right there, number 58, the top scholastic player in the country last year. They think he's got superstar quality, and he's got all the physical attributes at 6'4", 220.
Nice day for A.B. Brown so far. 15 carries, 109 yards, and a touchdown. Playing against the school that he began his college career at. Here's Harris on 2nd down, scrambling out over the 30-yard line to the 43. Driven out of bounds there by Washington at the 42-yard line. Nice gain on the play of 21 by Major Harris.
And that was the option, and he elected. He saw the chance to turn it up inside. And when you think how he can run at 215 pounds, watch him avoid the tackle and turn it up here. Great athlete. Great acceleration. What a threat. Wow.
West Virginia 1st and 10. Split twins to the bottom, lined up otherwise in the eye. Here's Harris going away from the split. At the 45, at the 50, and into Pittsburgh territory, brought down by Olszewski at the 47.
And that's the problem. They're asking the linebacker to pick up on the quarterback there, and Olszewski, as good as he is and as much as he hustles, he just doesn't have the speed to be there when Harris turns it upfield, and it's another 1st down.
Oh, you look at
now, excuse me, Steve, now West Virginia's doing what they do best. They're getting the ball in the hands of their quarterback, and he's either optioning and keeping it himself or looking to pitch it.
1st and 10 in Pitt territory at the 47. Harris gives to the first man through, the fullback Craig Taylor. Taylor carries bodies to the 40 down to the 39.
And now with the injuries to the Pitt defense, particularly their defensive line with Spindler, Grossman, McDonald at linebacker, you're starting to see those big offensive people take control, and they can do it. We saw them dominate Maryland in the second half last week.
3:39 on the clock rolling in the third period. West Virginia leading 17-10, and they're moving, and moving quickly. 2nd down and 3. Taylor gets the call again. Diving for the 1st down. He's going to be close. Riddick comes up from the free safety spot to make the stop, as well as Tom Sims. This is a key stretch for the Mountaineers. They came into this season. A lot of people expected a lot of them. They're a veteran team. And this is a key drive, I'd have to think, for West Virginia.
Well, we talked about who the game was most key to, and a key, of course, to both teams. But West Virginia has a lot to prove this season. They really feel they've got a ball club, and this is the big game for them this season.
Measuring for the 1st down, it's going to be close. I think they're going to be shy. Major Harris's indication to his sideline is 6 inches or less. William McDonald brings the chain back to the center of the field. And that's where we'll start as Calvin Phillips heads to the sideline now for West Virginia. But the Mountaineers wearing them down. A team with a 17-10 lead right now. Let's take a look at a couple of scores from around the country. Duke bidding for their 4th straight win, 31-14 over Virginia. That's a surprise.
Rutgers hanging on in the second quarter, playing tough defense against Penn State.
Some tough games this year. They upset Michigan State. They were a mild upset, I guess, with Vanderbilt beat them at home. Although I'd have to say those two teams evenly matched. 3rd down. Here's the call. Taylor straight ahead. Got it this time. No need to measure.
Taylor running up over his center, Kevin Koken. Koken, the senior from Youngstown. That's quite a matchup. Koken is from Youngstown, Ohio, playing center. The middle linebacker for Pitt is Jerry Olszewski. He's from Youngstown.
They went to different high schools, but they knew each other. They played at about the same time as you see Olszewski. Let's look at Koken. And Koken gets a chance to meet Riddick and several other people as he goes out there on the block. 2nd down coming up. 1st and 10 rather. Here's Harris. Harris in trouble. Throws it as he goes down. It's going to be incomplete.
Very close, very close. Was his knee on the ground, or did they let that go as an incompleted pass?
Curtis Bray gets in there and gives him all kinds of heat.
That's a great job by the Pitt defense. They kept off a play fake. Major Harris coming up 1st and 10. Went with a pass. They contained him, covered his receivers well, and forced him to 2nd and 10.
As you saw, 5 for 11 on the afternoon. 2nd down and 10 coming up. 7th play of the drive. West Virginia started this one on their own 20. Here's Brown. Brown trying to go up inside, and Allen throws him down along with Prentice Wright. Up over the 34-yard line. Not much gain.
We talked about Prentice Wright coming in at that linebacker position for McDonald. He's not big, but he is ferocious, and he's a hitter. There he is, number 7. He made the hit that time on Brown, kept it to a yard gain, forcing Major Harris to a 3rd and 9. They've got to keep it going. The ball's sitting on the 33-yard line of Pittsburgh.
2:15 left to go in the 3rd. West Virginia 17-10 over Pittsburgh. Calvin Phillips to the top of your screen. Rembert to the bottom. Rembert's going to go in motion. All kinds of movement. It would look like it was Canadian football there for a moment as Taylor was not set as he went to the line.
All kinds of problems as they had the wrong formation with Rembert. The tailback was in the wrong place. It's going to cost them.
That's our 9th penalty of the afternoon.
They've already, yeah, that is their 9th penalty. You'd better off taking a timeout right there.
Taylor came up. Of course, Canadian football, you don't have to be set. To be in motion and the play can go.
That's this important drive. They trail only by 10 points, Pittsburgh. If they can hold them here and get the football back. When West Virginia started to mount a really good offensive drive this time, very important to them. They're playing with a lot of new faces in there on defense because of injuries, Pittsburgh. And they're getting the effort out of Prentice Wright, Tom Sims at tackle.
Jamie Lamont to the top of your screen. That's Taylor in motion on 3rd down. Harris to the top side as well. Stops, pumps, fires to the sideline, out of bounds, incomplete.
That was intended for Lamont, but he stretched it out too far. The Pitt defense put too much pressure, and by the time Major Harris wanted to get upfield, he had too much coverage. Watch this. He comes out, it's a sprint left. He has to pull the ball down because Olszewski's in his face, and by the time he delivers it, it's too late. The coverage is there, the ball is out of bounds, and West Virginia, on a drive that looked very promising, is now forced to punt the ball back.
And Pittsburgh going with 2 deep backs as Carrion gets the kick away. Fair catch called for by Hampton, and he catches it at the 10. A nice punt by Carrion, who didn't have much punting room down there deep, and he gets Pittsburgh deep down in their own territory. It's West Virginia by 7. We'll be back after this from your local station. Martin here along with Bob Cassiola, and there you see Larry Wonke. He is warming up, backup quarterback for Pittsburgh. Darnell Dickerson, we understand, got poked in the eye, and but he's back into the ball game. But Wonke is on reserve in case needed. Pitt at their own 10-yard line after their defense held following the punt by Carrion of about 28 yards that pinned them in at the 10-yard line. Key defensive series, Bob, for the Pitt defense. They held on a drive that I feel they had to hold on.
Yeah, there was every possibility for them to give up another score, which made it much more comfortable for West Virginia, but they held. West Virginia made some mistakes in penalties, and now they got the ball 90 yards away from the end zone, but they have the ball, and they're only 7 points down.
Here's Dickerson to throw. Steps inside the rush and fires. It is incomplete. Wanted Osborne. Bo Orlando and Darrell Whitmore were covering on the play that time.
Again, coming up on first down, even though they have the ball on their own 10-yard line, he's going to throw the football. He had plenty of time, but it didn't work. From ground level, we see the offensive line blocking for him. Because it's first down, you're usually going to get just a normal type defense, no rush, no penetration, maybe no blitz. Consequently, it gives the quarterback a chance to throw.
As Mike Gottfried looks on, you saw the battle between Tom Ricketts and Dale Jackson. Jackson, coming back from an injury, didn't play last week against Maryland. Having a hard time finding his way back in the lineup with Turnbull playing so well. Second down. Here's Dickerson. Hands off to Walker. Spins out of a tackle. Out over the 10-yard line to about the 12. Parker in on the stop now for West Virginia.
As usual, it's important here that Pittsburgh not give up the ball. Hold on to it, try and work for a first down, get themselves a little better field position. Number 49, Herring, calling the signals. Outstanding, dependable linebacker. For this tough West Virginia defense, they really flow to the football. Really no weaknesses. They've got a lot of experience up and down the defensive line, linebackers as well as in the secondary.
Pitt trailing by 7, looking at third down and 9. They're 3 for 10 on third down conversions, and here's Dickerson. Throwing, it is complete to Osborne. Depends on the mark. Looks like he's going to have the first down, very close to it at the 21-yard line.
Great pass. He just turns back to the football. The ball is delivered low as he's done all day. Watch this. 2 deep backs. They've got a linebacker out there supporting underneath. He takes the wide receiver. Osborne turns back inside in front of the free safety. That time Whitmore and makes the catch. First down.
And they convert the third to first on the 21-yard line. Winding down play in the third quarter with 21 seconds left. They may not get it off in time. 14 seconds and the clock rolling. Long count. This will be the last play of the third. Dickerson back to throw. Dickerson looking. Big rush on, and they sack him in the backfield. That's Theron Ellis. Great play by Ellis.
You just can't expect anybody to protect you that long. He sat in there. He waited. He wanted to go deep. He was looking upfield again for Osborne, who was covered by Darrell Whitmore, the free safety. Here you see it. He's looking for Osborne. Too long. And there it is. Theron Ellis from Norristown, Pennsylvania makes the play.
West Virginia 17-10. Back with more in the fourth quarter of this backyard brawl. Steve Martin here along with Bob Cassiola and Stan Savran as we bring you the action of these 2 great American independents. West Virginia ranked 11th coming in. They lead the 15th ranked Pittsburgh 17-10. Fourth quarter coming in this 81st renewal.
Very interesting football game. 17-10 the score. People expected a lot more as we look at Larry Wonke, the sophomore quarterback from Cleveland, Ohio. He's played a lot of football here. Played in the Blue Bonnet Bowl last year when an injury came to Dickerson. He can throw the football. We may still see him later on in this fourth period.
Right now it's Darnell Dickerson looking at second down and 22 after the sack. He's back to throw. Not much time, has to scramble. Fires incomplete. Intended for, looks like Baron Jackson downfield.
Once again, the pressure on the quarterback, forcing him out of the pocket, and excellent coverage in the secondary by Whitmore, Orlando, and Mays on the 2 wide receivers, Tootin and Osborne.
2 3/4 the stats there. Total yards, West Virginia now has surpassed, and their rushing yardage helped by that 64-yard rush by A.B. Brown, but they've been very, very consistent in their ground game here in the second.
And you look at those stats defensively for West Virginia, that's impressive. They've really contained Pittsburgh, and they've done a nice job of holding Darnell Dickerson from really the big play.
Plus, they've helped Walker from getting a lot of yardage here today as well. Here's Dickerson on third down, steps up into the pocket and fires for Tootin, overthrows it.
Well thrown pass. Tootin was there, but he was covered. He was double teamed that time, the free safety Whitmore, as he's looking for Tootin to go deep. Here's Tootin isolated. The cornerback 41 has him short, and you'll see the safety coming over In the middle, that's Preston Waters to double him on the backside.
Here is Jeff Van Horn, and more drama for Pittsburgh. He's kicked line drives galore, 4 punts, an average of 36 yards. Has not been able to get one up. Now he gets a fairly nice one out of there. Grannis Bell at the 41. Bell heads for the sidelines and gets driven back from the 35-yard line. And it's a return of about 6 yards on the punt of 31. And a nice field position situation for the West Virginia Mountaineers. 14:39 left to go in the game. They lead Pittsburgh by 7. We'll be back after this word from your local stations. To go on this fourth. He has the ball in excellent field position at the Pittsburgh 35. Major Harris handing off to Undra Johnson in his first carry of the day. Undra, good straight-ahead runner, gets inside the 30 to the 28-yard line.
Undra Johnson came in a lot earlier last week against Maryland and ran the ball very effectively. They really come with a lot of backs at you, West Virginia. And Undra, at 5'9", 200, has the power to run inside. And also, there he showed he can get outside. They really can come after you with depth in every position, particularly in their running back situation. He picked up 6 yards, got the ball inside the 35 to 30-yard line.
2nd down and 4. Rico Tyler is the fullback. Here's Johnson again on the pitch. Cuts inside as the first down to the 20. Lewis Riddick on the stop, but Undra Johnson, Mike Wallace, the running backs coach of West Virginia, tells me he will take the shortest distance that he can. He's a good straight-ahead runner.
Excellent blocking up front, the whole right side of the line. It looked like a sweep to the right. Johnson looking to cut it back. He's a veteran. He knows where the sticks are. He knows he's got to get first downs. He's got another one. The ball's on the 20 yards away from a score here as West Virginia moves on the ground.
Johnson's made 147 yards coming in, and this is Johnson again, headed for the end zone. Touchdown! Undra Johnson from 20 yards out.
The whole left side of the line blocked down and gave Johnson a chance to cut this thing all the way back. Nobody was there. Phillips, Stroya, Koken. Great job on the left side of the line, and Undra Johnson makes it look easy.
Don Nealon resting a little easier on that score as that gives the Mountaineers a 13-point lead pending Charlie Bauman's kick. It's going to be his 3rd point after touchdown of the day. Out of the hold of Chuck Levinas, it is good. 14:06 left to go. Let's look at that touchdown again.
Here we go. It starts off to the right side. He follows his fullback up in there, but watch the cut. There's the blocks. Everybody got a block on the left side, and they cut back against the grain, and he knows how to find that end zone. Great effort by the offensive line, a group we've been talking about in the last 2 weeks because they're so impressive.
4th touchdown, 5th touchdown of the year thus far for Undra Johnson. It's West Virginia by 2 touchdowns over Pittsburgh. Right now, they've given up a West Virginia touchdown. The Mountaineers have taken the lead by a score of 24-10. Brad Carroll getting set to kick off deep for Pittsburgh. It's going to be Lee McRae and also Michael Hadley. Story about McRae, he thought he'd be in Seoul with the 4x100 relay team. 3-time NCAA champion. He's not going to get a chance to return this one. This is Hadley. Hadley breaks inside. 35, make it out to about the 33-yard line. Tim Newsom in on the stop for West Virginia. Let's get down to the sidelines. Get a thought from Stan Savran on why Pitt has been so ineffective offensively.
Steve, I talked to wide receiver Billy Osborne, number 12, and he said that West Virginia has not shown any different coverages that they have all year long. It's nothing that they have not seen on film. The standard cover 2, cover 3, some man-to-man. Osborne says he recognizes the defense. He credits the West Virginia rush for destroying the timing on the patterns, and he credits that for the reason they're not able to move the ball, but it is nothing that West Virginia has done differently so far.
Here is Ron Redmond getting the call on 1st and 10, and he is immediately set down in a hurry by Theron Ellis, who's having himself one heck of a football game.
When you look at this last scoring drive, they got good field position, West Virginia, through the punt, and in 3 plays, Undra Johnson carried it in from 20 yards out. In 3 plays, they went in with a score. But getting back to Stan's comments, that's exactly what's happened. They came into this football game knowing they had experience and depth. They're playing their kind of a game, and they're just relying on their talent the athletic ability and their experience, and they're moving to the football. They've done an excellent job up front with their down people, the linebackers, and particularly their experienced secondary.
We'll move to linebacker, or a fullback, and Crossman, and put in an extra wide receiver on 2nd down and 7. Dickerson back with time, looking over the middle for Osborne. He broke late. Incomplete. Lockwood covering on the play.
He broke late, and Dickerson threw the ball up and really short-handed the football. It fell very short here. He's got plenty of time as he sits back in here, and he's looking for Osborne from the right of the screen to come open deep. But the ball is short. Look at all the white jerseys around the receiver. They're playing it well. They're looking for the pass. They know they can place in the secondary because their up front people and their linebackers are controlling the line of scrimmage and the running game.
Dickerson's come up empty on his last 4 passes. West Virginia now with wholesale substitutions. This is their pass rush defense on 3rd and 8.
And their nickel back, their 5th defensive back into the ball game.
Here comes Dickerson, steps up, fires, intended for his fullback Crossman. It's incomplete. And he took a hard hit after he delivered the ball.
He took a hard hit from Pickett coming from the outside linebacker position. And they're going to force him to punt the ball again. That time his fullback was open, but when he got hit, he elevated the ball too far. Lots of pressure on that young man today, and it's come from the West Virginia defense.
Let's watch West Virginia now. We've got a new kicker. Yusef Washington is going to be the new punter now, replacing Jeff Van Horn. Brandis Bell deep. Here's Washington with a boot. Bell calls for the fair catch at the 37-yard line. So West Virginia will get the football back comfortably in front with 12:54 left to go in the football game. 24-10 West Virginia over Pittsburgh. We're back after this from your local station. Come back to Pitt Stadium, and there you see Darnell Dickerson. Could this be the last that we've seen of him this afternoon? Could there be a change of command when Pitt gets the ball back? Well, Wonky's warm-up suggests that that might be the case, but right now the Pitt defense is out there on the field. They're banged up, and they're facing a West Virginia offense that has it all together. Here comes Johnson trying to turn the corner, and this time he has stopped. Holloway initially pulled him down, and he had help from Osowski.
The West Virginia offense trying to run the ball, take some time off the clock now. Good play by Holloway, but you look at this, and there it is. There's the rushing game and the balance they have. We talked about it. 2 tailbacks running the football, Brown and Johnson. Harris, of course, the quarterback, and Taylor, the fullback. When you look at that distribution, that's why they're so effective.
Ground game that averages 313 normally, and against a pretty good Pitt defense, albeit injured, they've done well today. 2nd down and 15. Draw play, and a flag thrown into the fray as Johnson goes up over the 30-yard line to about the 32. This could be a hold.
We got to talk about the injuries to Pitt. They didn't expect it. Grossman, of course, is a terrific loss as we watch the hold call here against West Virginia. Grossman, a defensive end, did not play today. They lost their young linebacker, but a good one in McDonald, and also Spindler. Spindler went out with a hip pointer early. He did not come back in, and there's 3 starters out of their defense against a very, very effective offensive team with West Virginia, and it's got to hurt them.
Penalty apparently is going to be declined by Pitt.
Force him into a 3rd down and 14.
Taylor and Johnson are the setbacks for Major Harris. West Virginia leading 24-10, 11:58 left to go in the football game. Harris to throw. Rush on by Osowski, and he gets it. Osowski and Curtis Bray in on the stop. The 2 linebackers coming in and making a sandwich of Major Harris.
Osowski makes the play. There he is, number 55, senior out of Youngstown. The coach on the field. Watch this as Osowski comes around to the right side. You'll see him appear right there, number 55. He squeezes it. Bray comes up the middle. They take a gamble, put pressure on the quarterback, throw Harris for a loss, force West Virginia to punt.
Lance Carrion with the kick. Alonzo Hampton getting away from it as it takes a Pittsburgh bounce and rolls out of bounds at the 36-yard line. And let's see who comes out into the ball game. It looks like it's going to be Larry Wonky. Number 8, Larry Wonky, headed into the ball game. A much different look than Darnell Dickerson.
He's a drop-back passer, and he will throw the football here. He comes into this game. He's tried 7. He's completed 4 for 62 yards. He's had 1 interception, but he was outstanding this spring. Dickerson was not in the spring. He was the most valuable player in the spring. He played in the Blue Bonnet Bowl where he played outstandingly. So Larry Wonky is a fine passer, a fine quarterback.
Out of the I formation on 1st and 10. The first play is to Walker. Walker cuts up inside and gets nearly 5 yards. Stopped first by Whitmore. He falls to the 40-yard line after a 4-yard gain.
West Virginia's done an excellent job of containing Adam Walker today. He's had some great days so far this year, but their defense pursuing has done an excellent job against him.
Kervin Richards comes into the ball game in place of Walker in the backfield, suggesting a throw on 2nd down. Walker coming into this game at 327 yards rushing, 122 against Ohio State last week. 2nd down. Lone setback. This could be Wonky's first pass of the day. Wonky to throw. Has a man open. It's Osborne. It's nearly picked off, is it? Yes, it is. Bo Orlando. He got a foot down inbounds before he stepped out. A great play by Bo Orlando.
We have talked about the athletic ability of this kid. He was a former free safety. He knows how to go to the football, and that's him. Watch him fly. This is quite a pass, but it's up in the air too long. It gives Orlando a chance to adjust. The cornerback is there on the receiver, and there comes Orlando inside out. Great interception.
Boy, wow, what a play. Nice camera work, too, as you look at Orlando will return one for some 50 yards against Maryland for a score. And this time, this one gives West Virginia the possession at their own 40-yard line, 1st and 10 with 10.5 left. Johnson gets the pitch. Straight ahead over the 40-yard line up to about the 43. Osowski and also Sims on the stop now for Pittsburgh.
West Virginia looking to take some time off the clock now, up by 2 touchdowns, 24-10. They got Andre Johnson back in the ballgame. He's fresh. He hasn't played until about the last series, so he's ready to go.
They have another tailback beyond that they could use, and Eugene Napoleon. So it's going to be 2nd down and 7. The 43 of West Virginia. Harris gives to Johnson. Johnson straight ahead over the 45-yard line out to the 48-yard line. Let's get down to the sidelines, and our reporter down there is Stan Savran.
Thank you, Steve. After West Virginia scored the touchdown to go ahead 24-10, several of the West Virginia players behind the bench were saying, let's rub it in, let's finish him off. And of all people, Bo Orlando stands up and said, wait a minute, there's a long way to go before this game is over. Remember what happened to us last year when we lost late? We got to keep going till the final gun. Sure enough, next series, Bo Orlando comes up with an interception. That's called senior leadership. Steve?
3rd down coming up now for West Virginia. The pitch to Johnson on the corner. It looks like he's going to be short. Lewis Riddick comes up to make the stop with Troy Washington.
Big play for the defense that time. They held him on the option. He forced the quarterback, Harris, to pitch it. And number 5, sophomore Lewis Riddick, who played fullback last year for Pitt, moved back to defense and starting at strong safety. He made up and made the hit. And they're forcing West Virginia to punt the football.
And Carrion will do the honors. You've seen what he's done today. 43-yard average. He gets off a nice one. It'll go inside the 10, but it rolls into the end zone. Lance Carrion. So it'll be West Virginia going back to defense, and Pitt coming back out to the 20-yard line as you see Lance Carrion go to the sideline. Let's take a look around the map of college football on this busy Saturday afternoon. They're having a Donnybrook and Durham as Duke.
Duke can score. They've got a great passing offense with Steve Spurrier, and they're making points, and they got well ahead of Virginia early, and now they're holding on 38-21.
You know, they were picked for last in the ACC this year. Notre Dame 3 touchdowns better than Purdue.
There's one.
That's a big message sent by South Carolina. They said all week we are supposed to be in the top 10, and we're going to prove it this week. Still 2nd quarter. Rutgers 7-3 over Penn State. Our score, West Virginia 24, Pittsburgh 10, and this is going to be Kervin Richards who carries out over the 20-yard line to the 24.
Kervin Richards, the freshman out of LaPorte, Texas, came into this ball game with a 6.5 rushing average and 1 touchdown. Has not been used today. He's back in the ball game. He's quick, 5'10", 190 pounds. There he is, another one of the outstanding freshmen that Mike Gottfried has recruited here at Pittsburgh.
He was tackled by Theron Ellis. We need to give a call to this young man who's had a great ball game today out of Norristown, Pennsylvania. Inside linebacker, was an outside linebacker and converted to the inside and has done very well. Second down and about 5. Wonky, all kinds of pressure. Throws it to Kirk at the last second. Kirk up the sidelines, driven out of bounds at the 43 by Darrell Whitmore.
Wow, what a play. He's in the grasp of the defender, and he just flips the ball out to Kirk, who was not even an outlet. He was just sitting out here, and here he comes. He drops back. Watch the pressure from the outside from Pickett. Pickett comes in. He's in the grasp of Orlando, who's blitzing from the strong safety position, and that's quick thinking and athletic ability. He just flipped it like an option to number 80, Vernon Kirk. And the big guy from Donora, Pennsylvania, got the first down.
17-yard gain. Redmond and Crossman the setbacks for Larry Wonky now at the 42. Wonky falls away from center. There's Redmond trying to corner, but Orlando says, At the 42, he drives him out of bounds.
We got a flag on the field. That was not intended to break outside. He wanted to go back inside with the play. He never got a chance to cut it. But again, Bo Orlando was there to make the hit.
William McDonald, the referee, going to make the call. It's a hold against Pitt.
Tough call against Pitt, but watch on the top of the screen, watch 22, Orlando come right up on the line of scrimmage. This guy loves he really enjoys playing the game. Look at him, number 22, plays off the block of the wide receiver Reggie Williams, not much of a block, and gets out there and makes the hit. But Orlando's everywhere. He's a defensive back. He's almost a linebacker. He can run, he can intercept. He's really a terrific football player. And they enjoy him.
Here's the latest on that Rutgers score. Rutgers leading Penn State 14-10. They're in the third at University Park.
Rutgers has been able to move the football this year on people. Their problem has been stopping them, and especially last week against Vanderbilt. But they're playing tough up at State College, and that's not an easy place to play.
First down and 20 to go. Redmond the lone setback. Wonky to throw with time. It's deflected. Looked like Scott Summits, I think, got a hand on it. Maybe premature with that call, but Summits has played a great game so far today. He may have got a hand on Larry Wonky's pass intended out in the flats for Boyer.
Scott Summits came in. He got an award last week, as you mentioned. Watch this play. Wonky has time. He waits a little too long, and these big guys, Summits at 6'3", gets up in his face. There he is, right there. And he gets up, and he makes the play. That's a great effort. Played off the block. Summits was voted the defensive hustler last week against Maryland. That meant he led in tackles. He had 8 of them, 2 sacks, and the senior really has come on in the last 2 weeks and is playing very well at the nose guard position.
2nd and 20 for Larry Wonky and the Pitt Panthers. Hand off to the fullback. That's going to be Kirvin Richards. Richards trying the outside, and he can't get there either. And it is Pat Marlatt from Princeton, New Jersey, from West Virginia, who gets him.
Marlatt comes in. He's the backup at that position for Parker, but he can move. There he is, big number 95. You can't do it any better than that.
Say he's a very emotional player, very intense.
And very big.
251, 6'5", but he can move. 3rd down coming up for Pitt. They're 2 touchdowns back, and the clock is running. 6:43 left to go in the football game. West Virginia 24-10. Redmond the lone setback for Wonky. West Virginia with their nickel package in defensively, 6 defensive backs. Wonky to throw over the middle. It is complete to Reggie Williams. He is brought down immediately at the 38-yard line, well shy of the first down, and the tackle is made on the play by Joe Oyuso.
Williams did a good job. The ball was a little bit behind him. He caught it. Had he gotten upfield a little bit, he had a chance to make more yardage, but it's a 4th down situation. Again, West Virginia's defense coming alive here in the second half and really has shut off Pitt to where, you know, they're just outstanding, and it's hard for Pitt to move the football now knowing they have to throw it. Put it in the air. Nayland's looking to get a timeout here.
Well, 4th down, and Pitt is going for it with 5:57 left, and now Don Nayland feels he's got to
He's got the wrong people in the game. That's why. He's probably anticipating that they were going to punt the football, so he's got to get his substitutes changed around.
So there's timeout on the field. 5:47 left to go in the football game. It's West Virginia 24, Pittsburgh 10. Welcome back. Fourth quarter action. Steve Martin along with Bob Cacciola and Stan Savran. We're at Pitt Stadium where the West Virginia Mountaineers have just called this place their home this afternoon, especially in the second half. They lead Pitt 24-10.
They've taken over on defense in the second half, shut down the Pitt passing and running game. They've got them in a tough situation now, 4th and 14. It looks like Pitt is going to go for it, and they're going to bring in, they brought in a nickel back. They've got an extra defensive back into the game, and they're just playing tough. David Lockwood, number 41, is the nickel back.
They are 4th and 14 from their own 38-yard line. Williams in motion. Rushes on. Wonky's going to be buried. Ronaldo Turnbull on the tackle.
Ronaldo Turnbull just ran around the block of Tom Ricketts. Tom Ricketts is regarded as one of the top offensive linemen in the country. And Turnbull, of course, he knows what's coming, just turns it on. Watch this from the right side of the screen, and he's right there. You'll see him appear, number 87. Big play after big play for this guy. As you watch as that defensive line just tees off in the top of the screen, he just flies past Ricketts, and West Virginia's got the ball inside the 30-yard line.
It's Taylor and Brown, the setbacks for Harris. 1st and 10 for West Virginia. They go to Craig Taylor, and Taylor carries people with him inside the 20 down to the 17-yard line. The ball pops loose, but it'll be West Virginia ball. Troy Washington on the tackle.
Big offensive line just blowing them out of there now. West Virginia sees it. They came into this ball game knowing a lot of people in the country had their eyes focused on this football team. Ranked 11th coming in. This has got to help them if they can continue with this score.
5:12 and the clock running. 9-yard gain by Taylor brings up 2nd and 1. Handoff this time to Brown. He's got the first down inside the 15 to the 13. Nice carry by A.D. Anthony Brown. Quite a homecoming for Brown, who actually hails out of New Jersey, but started his college career at Pittsburgh, transferred to West Virginia, and of course Major Harris playing in front of the home crowd today as well.
Eugene Napoleon, the other tailback. We haven't seen him yet. He works on his specialty teams. He started his career here at Pittsburgh also.
Brown, 17 carries, 114 yards and a score. This is Taylor. Taylor at the 10. Impressive running to the 6.
Big block inside by Smiter, the right tackle, and Kovac, the right guard. But more important, that's just a little, they slip the ball to the fullback as the tailback, as the quarterback turns, as if he's going to pitch it to the tailback. The linebackers flow out of there with the tailback, and they just slip the ball to the fullback. And the kind of fullbacks that West Virginia has in Taylor and Evans, you give them a little seam, they're going to make yardage.
2nd down, 3 to go, ball on the 7. Harris, first man through. Taylor close to the first down. Down inside the 3 to the 2-yard line. He's got it easily.
They got all their seniors in there. They've got all their veterans up front, and Koken at center and Stroy at left guard.
And they're going into the end zone where most of the West Virginia fans are. So they're getting a little home crowd treatment down there.
And they're alive on that West Virginia bench, too.
Clock rolling. 4 minutes left. West Virginia moving the ball in. Harris to Taylor again. He gets to the 1. Osavsky wraps him up at the 1-yard line, a gain of 2. West Virginia can sense it right now. Don Nealon sending the play. Well, his play's already sent in.
No mistakes on the ground.
Nothing fancy.
Here it is. Look at that shot. Great. Right on ground level. You see how far they got to go. Watch this offense against the defense. Right in the trenches.
Who'll carry it this yard? It's Brown. Brown hit. Does he go in? Let's see if they mark him down. There's no call yet.
No.
He got really hit at the line of scrimmage.
He got hit on the line of scrimmage. Good job by Cornell Holloway. The cornerback came up there and hit him just as he tried to jump and vault that line. Kept him short. And Mike Gottfried knows can't get this football back. West Virginia's dominated the second half on him. 3rd down and less than a yard.
2:54 left to go in the ball game. West Virginia 24-10 over Pittsburgh, and they're threatening to put another one on the board. Harris with the call. Taylor's in. Touchdown. Craig Taylor from Linden, New Jersey, came in with 140 yards to his credit prior to this ball game, and the 6', 250-pound senior. And look at Don Nealon. What do you think he's talking about?
Well, what he's talking about, fellas, he said, he came in, he said earlier this morning, before this game, he was really up for this one. He was tight as a drum, but he had a lot of confidence in his club, and they played well.
They have
played well on both sides of the football, particularly in the second half.
Charlie Bauman with a kick. That's his 4th of the day, and it is good. And the West Virginia Mountaineers prove they are indeed for real. The 11th-ranked Mountaineers take a 31-10 lead over the Pitt Panthers with 2:41 left to go in the ball game. We're back after this from your local station. It is the year for Don Nealon and his staff. The Mountaineers have put a big win, or they've got a big lead right now, 31-10 over Pittsburgh with 2:41 left to go. A happy sideline, as you see. Their rushing game has gone for big yardage today. West Virginia going for 276 yards to Pitt's 78. And look at this. South Carolina is beating Georgia 20-3. That may give West Virginia an opportunity to move up even further. They'll definitely break into the top 10 this week. They were 11th coming in. As we get set for the kick for Brad Carroll, Deet, McCray, and Hadley. There's the kick. It's a squiver. Be taken by an up back at the 36-yard line, and that's where it'll stop. Pittsburgh will get the ball back, 1st and 10.
There's Don Nealon, head coach, graduate of Bowling Green. He coached 9 years as his alma mater, then went on to Michigan as an assistant coach, came to West Virginia 9 years ago. He's got the winningest record in their history. He probably has the finest football team they've had in recent history, and this is the year. When you look at their schedule, after this, they've got Virginia Tech, East Carolina, Boston College, Penn State, Cincinnati, Rutgers, Syracuse. A lot of those games are at home. This game was pivotal for him. He knew it. They're going to win it, and they're going to be awfully tough to beat the rest of the way.
Kervin Richards tries to turn the corner, but Chris Herring will have none of it. They'll have a flag on the play. It looks like possibly a face mask penalty, and you see the faithful from Morgantown. What a crowd of West Virginia fans to come up here for this game. It's an annual affair for them. As you look at the Pitt sideline, not much happiness there. That's a young club.
They're a young team. They can rebound. Mike Gottfried said that. They got a big game next week. They go to Boston to play the BC Eagles. So they're a team, and we'll be there to see them, and you can bet that they're going to be back. They've got just too much talent. The difference here today is that West Virginia's experience. Pittsburgh is in the middle. They've got good players, and they don't have the experience of this West Virginia team. As we look at scores in the 4th quarter, Virginia coming back against Duke.
1st and 10 for Pittsburgh after the penalty. It's a face mask. Wonky hands off, first man through. That's Redmond. Redmond going up over the 40-yard line, and he's brought down at about the 39 of West Virginia. So Mike Gottfried is content to keep it on the ground here. Rutgers leading Penn State, still in the 3rd at University Park.
There's a big one. Clemson over Georgia Tech. That's close to the 3rd period.
Both lost heartbreakers last week. Michigan trying to rebound from 2 losses, playing Wake Forest. And they're up 14-3 at Michigan Stadium.
At Army, Northwestern leads at halftime, 7-3 over the Black Knights, playing at Wishbone. And Syracuse coming back after an off week, shutting out Virginia Tech.
Here's Wonky to throw. Wonky looking upstairs. That's a man step for step. Looks like Boyer, and it is intercepted by Alvoid Mays at the 1-yard line. His 2nd interception of the day, his 3rd in 2 weeks.
Wonky was trying to hit Baron Jackson, that freshman speedster from Baton Rouge, and he just had great position all the way from Mays, number 3. That's his 3rd interception in 2 weeks. This is a beautifully thrown pass. It's just well covered by Mays, who's got position on 19. Jackson comes down with the football. Excellent job.
Let's watch him again. Look at that. Right into his belly, and he was there with great coverage on a very, very quick receiver. as you saw his second interception of the day. Major Harris out there. He's got West Virginia 99 yards away from the end zone, and they're just going to play it conservatively. Aaron Evans gets the call, and he gets up over the 5-yard line out about the 6. 1:36, clock moving as you see the Richmond, Virginia junior get in there, come back into the huddle. West Virginia getting their touchdowns from Rembert, a 31-yard touchdown pass from Harris in the first quarter. Charlie Bauman added a field goal to make it 10-0 to end the first quarter of play. 2nd down and 5. Harris hands off to the tailback, and that's going to be Napoleon.
Yeah.
He's going to surge ahead of the 9-yard line.
We knew we'd see Napoleon. He's an outstanding back. The trouble is he's got Undra Johnson and A.B. Brown in front of him. But
Roy Washington on the stop.
Eugene Napoleon, and look at this score in the third quarter. Rutgers up now 21-10 in the third period.
3rd down and about a foot. Pitt got their offense on the board as Henry Tootin hauled in a 22-yard pass from Dickerson. Then West Virginia scored again in the 3rd. 64-yard run by A.B. Brown as you see Napoleon again trying to get that first down, and he's going to be stopped short of it at the 10-yard line with 29 seconds left to go. The clock is still going. Pitt has 2 timeouts remaining, but they're not making any attempt to call one.
Big win for the West Virginia Mountaineers, and especially to win it right here.
This is the last time they won in this series, was here at Pitt Stadium. As you see the clock wind down, Jefferson Palatella Productions executive producers Jimmy Rayburn. Peter Lasser produced today's game. Our director today, Billy McCoy. As the clock winds down and the fans head to the exits, our associate producer, Wendy Fisher, network coordinators, Tony Johnson and Dana Lambert. Jeff Jeffries has been our technical director today. And, of course, the rest of a very fine crew as Don Nealon heads to the sidelines. He talks right there with John Fox, who is the defensive coordinator for Pittsburgh. And he heads into the tunnel. Mike Gottfried, a disappointing loss for the Pittsburgh club as Nealon heads to the tunnel, but they're a young team. Nealon waving to the fans as he heads underneath. A great day for West Virginia as they defeat Pittsburgh by a score of 31-10. Next week at high noon, it's Pittsburgh and Boston College from Alumni Stadium in Chestnut Hill, Massachusetts. We hope you'll join us on most of these stations at 12 noon. Our score today is West Virginia beating Pittsburgh by a score of 31-10. You've been watching Jefferson Palatella Productions exclusive coverage of great American independent football. Our thanks to Stan Savran, for Bob Casciola, and our fine crew here at Pittsburgh. I'm Steve Martin saying good afternoon.